U.S. officials say the new wave of strikes overnight hit dozens of targets to weaken Iran's ability to attack ships in the Strait of Hormuz. The attacks targeted air defense systems, coastal radar sites, and small boats.
More Israeli air attacks in Gaza City. At least 6 Palestinians were killed, including a 9-year-old girl. A dozen others wounded, say Palestinian health officials. Israeli military says it targeted terrorist infrastructure. Violent storms and flooding from Pennsylvania to Missouri and extreme heat from California to Michigan and Wisconsin. Senator Lindsey Graham, South Carolina Republican, died from a ruptured aorta stemming from heart disease, says preliminary info from the medical examiner. This is ABC News. There's new research with advice if your teenage son or daughter gets a concussion. A previous recommendation was to prohibit screen time in the first 48 hours to avoid eye strain and interference with sleep. ABC's Melissa Don.
In a report from the British Journal of Sports Medicine, teens with a new concussion who had around 2.5 hours of daily screen time recovered 35% faster than those with more or less screen time. Researchers suggest that moderate screen time use keeps young people socially connected and mentally engaged, which may support recovery without worsening symptoms.
Experts point out this is only one study, and parents and caregivers should always consult a doctor. Never in history has Congress been so old. The average age of the current Senate is 64. Half the members are over 65. The oldest, Chuck Grassley in Iowa, 92. Average age in the House has soared from under 50 in the early 1980s to 58 now. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
Today is Monday, July 13th. Good morning, I'm Brian Feldman. These are the stories making news.
I'm Debbie Monterey. Charges are being sought for 2 teenagers after 7 people were shot, 5 fatally yesterday in East St. Louis.
Investigators are piecing together multiple crime scenes in what Illinois State Police is calling a targeted mass shooting.
One of these was at 39th and Summit, 3 at the Gompers Public Housing Project, 1 here at Jones Park, which is right here behind us.
ISP Director Brendan Kelly says the suspects, 15 and 16-year-old boys, were taken into custody after patrol cars stopped the teens' getaway car in Frank Holden State Park. At least one of the teens is related to the victims, and investigators are now navigating the legal rules of dealing with underage suspects.
There are undoubtedly specific limitations and rules that the state of Illinois, and that's pretty common across the country, that you have and how law enforcement has to investigate and interact with a juvenile. There are certain circumstances in which the nature of the offenses that are involved, the laws related to adults and how adults are prosecuted, those could apply to a juvenile under certain circumstances.
Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
A 20-year-old man said to be clinging to life after being shot early Sunday in the Hamilton Heights neighborhood of St. Louis. Police say it happened just after midnight in the 2700 block of Wells. Homicide detectives have been assigned to the case due to the extent of the victim's injuries.
One local county's leaders will vote tonight on a 6-month moratorium on data centers.
St. Charles County Council is expected to give the bill final approval this evening. County Executive Steve Ellman says the county needs to do extensive research into data centers during this moratorium.
What's good about them, what's bad about them, from the pros and the cons, from the experts on both sides, so that if and when we do have to make a decision in the future, we're prepared to make it.
He adds the time to pause data centers is now, with no proposals to build one anywhere in the county. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
With early voting underway across Missouri, election leaders are reminding voters of their options. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins tells MissouriNet registered voters can request a ballot in several different ways.
They can either vote in person, they can vote absentee, they can request a mail-in ballot. Also in the state of Missouri, one of the safeguards we have on election integrity is basically requiring a mail-in ballot to be notarized. And that's another fraud prevention method that we have here in the state.
The August 4th ballot also includes 4 constitutional amendments covering everything from state parks and conservation programs to taxes and the way citizen-led constitutional changes reach voters.
Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina died over the weekend at the age of 71. Reaction from Missouri and Illinois residents who served with him.
Republican U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt says Graham was one of a kind and a champion for the people of South Carolina. Schmidt says some of his fondest memories of Graham were on a golf course. He says they'd agree on things and sometimes disagree on things, but always shared a lot of laughs. Senator Dick Durbin, the Illinois Democrat, just got back from a trip with Lindsey Graham to the NATO summit in Turkey. Durbin says Graham was a tireless supporter of European and Ukrainian security, which he pursued until his passing. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
From Pennsylvania to Missouri, severe storms brought flooding over the weekend. Details from ABC's Hannah Battah.
In Missouri, at least one person is dead and more than 350 people had to be rescued after 6 to 12 inches of rain triggered flash flooding. Black Hawk helicopters were brought in to rescue more than 200 children and staff from a summer camp.
One of the cabins, you couldn't even see because you could only see the tippy top of the roof.
You just feel so helpless as a parent.
The National Weather Service calling it a once-in-a-thousand-years event.
From flooding to dangerous heat in other spots around the country, here's ABC's Karen Hua.
After fueling wildfires like the 2,700-acre Summit Fire northeast of Los Angeles, the heat expanding eastward, setting records from Utah to Montana. New all-time highs were set in Salt Lake City, where the temperature hit 109, and in Billings, Montana, which hit 111 degrees. International Falls, Minnesota, on the Canadian border, could see its first 100-degree day in more than a century.
A parasitic outbreak is growing across the nation, including in parts of Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, and New York. KMOX Health editor Fred Bottomer has the latest on what's being called cyclospora.
Severe diarrhea is the key symptom here, but it's much different than those more common norovirus cases you can get on a cruise. SLU Care General Internist Dr. Fred Buckold at SSM Health, St. Louis University Hospital.
You could get a diarrhea, get pretty sick with it, recover, and then continue to have diarrhea at another point in time as it kind of, grows and shrinks in volume in your body. So it in that sense, it's a little bit more difficult to treat and detect.
Foodborne outbreaks of cyclosporiasis have been linked to various types of fruits and vegetables, especially imported fresh produce such as raspberries, basil, snow peas, lettuce, and cilantro. Dr. Buckold says we need to be extra vigilant in washing our produce. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
It is 6:07, and when we come back, a look at traffic and weather. Stay with us here on 104.1 FM KMOX.
You feel it every time you check out. Prices up, paychecks stretched, families squeezed. That's why Ann Wagner's fighting to get government off your back and out of your way. Wagner passed the largest tax cut in American history, expanded child tax credits, ended taxes on tips, overtime, and Social Security. And Wagner is working to lower costs so families keep more of their hard-earned money. But Ann Wagner knows delivering for Missouri means more than just protecting their wallets. It means protecting our streets as well. That's why Wagner fought to secure our border, deport dangerous illegal aliens, partner with law enforcement, and put predators behind bars and off our streets so our neighborhoods and communities stay safe. Because real effective leadership protects what matters most: your money, your family, your safety. Ann Wagner for Congress.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
It's 6:10. Let's get a check on the roadways with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, MoDOT's reporting a traffic signal issue Olive at 141. So use some caution there as you're making your way through that intersection. Into downtown St. Louis, not seeing any issues now crossing the Poplar. Westbound 5564. Similar story crossing the Musial Veterans Bridge on westbound Highway 70. North County looks good so far this morning. Westbound on Highway 270 crossing the chain of rocks. In from St. Charles County, eastbound on Highway 64, eastbound on Highway 70. We are delay-free from St. Charles County into St. Louis County. Our next traffic update at 6:20. Frank Ladd of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Bright sunshine today and very warm this afternoon. High 89. Tonight will be clear, low 70. Mostly sunny tomorrow. Rather hot and humid in the afternoon, high 93. More the same Wednesday. Sunshine and some clouds, hot and humid, high 92. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is mostly sunny now and 68 degrees.
I'll tell you who's hot for the Redbirds as they go into the All-Star break. That's straight ahead in sports.
An Alton man died in an early Sunday morning crash in Madison County. Sheriff's deputies say it happened on Montclair Avenue in Godfrey. Investigators determined the Jeep of 31-year-old Anthony Stewart hit a curb, mailbox, and tree that overturned.
Another man died after his all-terrain vehicle collided with a cow in south central Missouri. The Highway Patrol says the 29-year-old Lebanon man was riding on the back of an ATV early Sunday morning in Laclede County. When that crash happened, the driver suffered moderate injuries.
It's a big topic here in the bi-state region. Data centers. Out east, new legislation in New York State could temporarily put the brakes on new data center construction there. ABC's Mike Dabuski has more.
A new omnibus package of legislation is awaiting New York Governor Kathy Hochul's signature, which would temporarily limit the construction of large data centers known as hyperscalers in the state.
Any data centers that are 20 megawatts and above, which are on a much, much larger scale than anything we've really seen before.
State Senator Kristen Gonzalez co-authored the bills.
We cannot afford to have a strained energy grid, and we cannot afford to pay higher energy bills if we did nothing.
Mike Dabuski, ABC News.
No word on when Kentucky's Mitch McConnell might return to the Senate, but as ABC's Wayne Cabot reports, at least he's explaining now his month-long absence.
McConnell finally broke his silence in a statement that included a photo of him holding the current edition of the Washington Post, perhaps to put to rest conspiracy theories. He's now in a rehab facility after being in the hospital since June 11th with an undisclosed medical diagnosis. He says he's been private because, as he put it, folks of my generation often hesitate to share the vulnerability that comes with growing older. He's 84 and now says he suffered a fall last month. It left him briefly unconscious. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
ABC correspondent, or AP correspondent Luke Garrett reports on the death of actor Sam Neill.
Sam Neill, the New Zealand actor whose career spanned art house film to international blockbuster, has died at the age of 78. A statement posted by Neill's family on his social media page said his death was sudden and unexpected, but that he remained cancer-free after previously being diagnosed with angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma in 2023. Born in Northern Ireland in 1947, he and his family emigrated to New Zealand when he was 7. He came to prominence in the late 1970s with a series of TV and film roles. In 1979, his career was elevated by the film My Brilliant Career, which brought him international acclaim. But it was Steven Spielberg's 1993 classic Jurassic Park which brought him the highest level of fame.
They do move in herds.
He came to be known in his native New Zealand as a modest and unassuming person who didn't embrace celebrity. In 2023, he was awarded a knighthood by Queen Elizabeth II for outstanding contribution to film.
Who's Hot, Who's Not is sponsored by St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories. Well, Jordan Walker has continued to show why he is making his first career All-Star appearance this week in Philadelphia. Walker leads the major leagues with 74 runs batted in, and he's on quite the roll headed into the All-Star break. Yesterday, he walked and stole second base in the first, and then in the sixth, after a pitch came up and in from Braves reliever J.R. Ritchie.
It gets us all hot and bothered.
There's a smash right back at Ritchie on through into center field, a base hit.
The best way
As
to
Mike
handle
Shannon would say, take that, big boy.
John Rooney doing his best Mike Shannon impersonation, but he does take a hit right back up the middle. He scored each time he was on base yesterday, and that first inning walk, it extended an on-base streak for Walker to 18 games. That matches his career high from his rookie season of 2023. Walker's working on a 7-game hitting streak and has at least a hit in 12 of 13 games in the month of July. In fact, in the month, Walker's hitting .341, and he sports a 1.116 OPS. Now, just how good has Walker been in his first 93 games this year? Well, yesterday he became the 6th major leaguer and first Cardinal to have 100-plus hits, 22 or more homers, 74 or more RBIs, and 13 or more stolen bases before the All-Star break. And he joined some pretty elite company in doing so. Willie Mays, Reggie Jackson, Jeff Bagwell, Ken Griffey Jr., and Jose Ramirez, the only other 5 players to hit those milestones before the All-Star break. Tonight, Walker will take part in the All-Star Home Run Derby. He is one of 8 participants. That gets started at 7 o'clock tonight on Netflix. The first-place Brewers are ice cold headed into the All-Star break. The Brewers were swept by the Pirates in Pittsburgh over the weekend. The Pirates capped that series with a 14-5 win yesterday, scoring 10 runs in the 4th inning. Going into the break, the Brewers have a 5-game lead in the National League Central over the Cubs. The Cardinals are 8.5 games back in the division. They're 1 game behind in the wild card race. St. Louis City resumes the MLS season Thursday at Energizer Park. Chief Experience Officer Matt Seebeck joined Mike Claiborne on Sports on a Sunday Morning. Said City is excited to get things started again.
Yeah, man, it's been a while since we've had a home game. Obviously, we've taken a summer break while the World Cup's been going on, but we want to ride the wave of that excitement. I think everyone's been talking soccer, making their picks around the dinner table. So our season, the second half of our season kicks back off next Thursday, actually, against our rival in Sporting Kansas City. So we're pumped to get cooking again.
That is a 7:30 start Thursday at Energizer Park, and that game will be simulcast right here on KMOX. Next sports update is 6:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Tom Ackerman for St. Louis Composting. Now, here we are in the middle of summer, and we could hit those drought conditions. I know we've had some rain recently, but your lawn needs the best soil, your garden needs the best compost, and your landscaping needs the best mulch. And St. Louis Composting can handle all of that in one place, stlcompost.com. Or you may choose to back up your truck or trailer at any of their 9 locations. There's one close to you here in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting. Now is a great time to get that landscape cleaned up, add compost to your garden beds. And if you're not sure how much compost, mulch, or soil you need, use the material calculator at stlcompost.com, and you can figure out exactly how much soil or mulch your project requires. Refresh it all with St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com. That's stlcompost.com. Growing gardens, making memories.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress. But one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Or call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceStoryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When Cardinals fans want to talk baseball, they turn to the Gas House Gang. Tom Ackerman, Chris Ranji, Mike Claiborne, and Bernie Miklas bring insights, analysis, and opinions that fuel the conversation. And every Tuesday, Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol pulls back the curtain on his decisions and his team's performance. The Gas House Gang is the sports show sports fans can't miss. Hear it weekdays at noon on your home for the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX. Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
At 6:20, we need to check the roadways with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, crews quickly cleared a stall out of the way westbound Highway 70 and Highway 270. All lanes are open there. Not seeing any delays. Passing Lambert, headed out towards Highway 270 on westbound Highway 70. Looks good up in North County as well. Westbound on Highway 270, crossing the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Northbound on Highway 270. We are delay-free between 5544 and Highway 64 so far this morning. All good into downtown St. Louis as well. Westbound 5564, crossing the Poplar. Our next traffic update at 6:30. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
It is going to be a sunny day today, high of 89 degrees. More humidity tomorrow with sunshine and a high of 93, 92 with sunshine on Wednesday. Currently, it's sunny and 68 in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 6:21. A new specialized safety force called the Missouri Rangers could soon be on patrol in your child's school.
We need our kids safe in schools. That is something nobody disagrees with.
Chesterfield State Senator David Gregory touting his bill Governor Mike Kehoe signed at the end of last week, allowing for highly trained guards to be walking the halls of schools, ready to take down active shooters. Critics worry the new Missouri Rangers will put more guns in classrooms.
To combat a school shooter, especially one with a rifle, you better have someone well-trained with equal firepower, or that school shooter is going to have a lot of time on campus to hurt those kids.
The program is optional. School leaders can even choose what kind of gun Rangers will be allowed to carry on campus.
What's so beautiful about this bill is that you have so much, each school has so much autonomy to decide if they're even going to implement this program.
Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Struggling residents or families near Chesterfield will soon be provided with home-cooked meals starting in August. People can volunteer at the Kitchen of Kindness once a month to prep, cook, package, and deliver meals to local residents and families.
Hanala Rubenfeld, co-director of the Chabad, which is the organization running the event, says the recipients are a little different than the typical.
So you know what? I think very often we think of these projects as people who are in dire need. But there's also people who are just going through a hard time.
Rubenfeld says anyone can nominate somebody they know who is struggling.
I think that's a little bit of a distinction, that it doesn't have to be a dire, desperate situation. Everybody wants to feel cared about.
The cleanup continues in southeast Missouri following drenching rains and flooding. Fox 2's Laura Simon spoke this morning with Corey Cottrell, manager of the Huzzah Valley Resort.
It essentially started around 3:30 in the morning Friday.
Correct, 3 o'clock in the morning Friday. I got a call that was coming. We went in evacuation mode, notifying all employees we could, start notifying the guests to evacuate. Luckily, we had enough time to get everybody out safely and secured everybody. We did have to open up a new evacuation route on the property, and it worked out. It was a record flood. It got 5 feet higher than it's ever gotten before. We are recovering. We are looking to open up on Thursday. Just give us some grace time and some space so our employees can get stuff done. We just keep on marching through this event. I appreciate all the social comments. They're great. We love you guys. We're just going to get through it. Just give us a little time. Things are looking up for floating for the rest of the summer. This is July. We love this time of year to have you people down here, and we really appreciate your business.
And it's incredible the way you guys were able to evacuate hundreds of people out of here in such a timely manner, because it certainly could have been so much worse. I know you guys we showed some of the damage just now, some of the pictures of that, but things can be replaced, but people's lives can't be. How grateful are you that you were able to get everyone out so seamlessly?
Oh, we're very grateful. of all that. There was a few tents and sleeping bags got flood damaged. Life is utmost importance here with us. We just had to make things happen in a timely fashion, and we're lucky we have employees that come in in the wee hours of the morning to make this happen. We've got a great support staff, trying to alert our folks the best way we can. Our electric did go out. We had some issues with servicing our folks. Our backup generator got flooded, so that kind of zonked us out in our office. Everything is backed up, battery backed up, so we saved all the reservations. So we're moving forward now. We're going to fix our roads and fix our infrastructure, and we're going to have customers. It's inevitable. People's going to be here, so we are preparing for that. And I just can't thank enough for some of our, the electric company that come in and provided electric service for us, and the MoDOT helped out, and everybody helped out keeping everybody safe.
It's 6:26. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
If you've been told that you need a new heating and cooling system for your home, and if you've gotten prices or you're going to get prices, call me. Try to stay away from the word high efficiency or efficiency. If you replace your system now and it's 12, 15, or 20 years old, you are greatly improving the efficiency just by replacing the old, inefficient unit. Do not be fooled. If you want a common sense approach and you just want your house cooled, I will help you. If you're good with that, call me. One easy number. It's Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600. Or on the internet, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. We all procrastinate. We put things off, confident we'll have time later. Well, one who procrastinates in choosing will inevitably have their choices made for them by circumstance. Could be an illness or even a death. And it happened to me. I was widowed at 41. It could happen to you. If you procrastinate and fail to plan for your future, for your children, circumstances and the courts will make your plans for you without your input. Eamon Gantner and Capriano help thousands of families plan for their future now. We can be your personal attorney too, guiding you with a will, trust, powers of attorney, Medicaid, and VA. You may delay, but time does not. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Back to school starts now. Get long-lasting battery life on the Dell XPS laptop powered by Series 3 Intel Core so you can work from anywhere. Now starting at $699 with exclusive student pricing starting at $599. Complete your setup with savings on select monitors and must-have electronics and accessories. Limited time deals and free shipping on PCs and more await you at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath. It's all about time.
Save time and money.
Do it now, don't wait till later. Call the top-notch renovator. It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It is now 6:30. We've got sunshine downtown. It's 68 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Brian Feldman. Let's check in with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the scanners continue to be generally quiet this morning. It looks good coming in from the Wright City area, eastbound on Highway 70, through Forestel, road construction through that stretch there, all the way up to Wentzville into St. Charles County, headed in towards St. Louis County, delay-free now. Eastbound Highway 64 as well, starting at Lake St. Louis. Northbound on Highway 270, not seeing any issues now between 5544 and Highway 64, and still a good run into downtown westbound on 5564, crossing the Poplar. Our next traffic update at 6:40. Frank Ladd of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be a nice day today, sunny and 89 degrees. Tomorrow, a little more humid and sunny with a high of 93. Right now, it's 68 downtown.
It's 6:31. Homicide detectives investigating a late Sunday shooting death in the College Hill neighborhood of North St. Louis. They say a man was gunned down in the 2000 block of Aubert around 10 last night. No word on any suspects.
Also, 2 teenage boys are in custody after 5 people were killed, 2 others wounded in what authorities are calling a targeted mass shooting yesterday in East St. Louis.
It's terrible. It's evil. But it will not keep this city down.
Investigators found the victims across multiple locations, including Jones Park and the Gompers Housing Project. Illinois State Police say all 7 victims belong to the same family. ISP Director Brendan Kelly.
This is the City of Champions. I'm glad to have our partners with us from the City of East St. Louis. This will not deter this community from continuing to do the good work of keeping people safe so that they can have a brighter day here in this city.
ISP is currently working with the state's attorney's office to file formal charges against the 15 and 16-year-olds.
Tonight, the St. Charles County Council is expected to approve a 6-month moratorium on new data centers. County Executive Steve Ellman says they'll use this time to study the impact data centers have on the community and whether they're right for St. Charles County.
The information I have and been able to look at, I could not approve. I could not vote for a data center. But with the information I have right now, I couldn't, in good conscience, ban them either.
Unlike the moratorium on new apartment complexes, this ban covers all of St. Charles County, not just the unincorporated parts.
The Missouri National Guard's Adjutant General says his soldiers train for dynamic missions such as Friday's rescue of more than 200 young people and staffers from a flooded campground. Major General Charles Hausman says they used Black Hawk helicopters to evacuate Camp Tomsock as between 6 and 12 inches of rain fell in Reynolds and Iron counties. Hausman says it was an honor to assist emergency responders with the National Guard's unique capabilities.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your money report next at 6:33.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. If you're looking for a little kick in the pants when it comes to dropping a little weight, getting better shape, getting more into the gym, think about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores. I've been using it since it came out. It's fantastic. You notice right away the difference. Look, we all have busy schedules. I do and you do. You know, we all have problems sometimes with controlling our eating patterns and staying on a plan. Well, Burn Balance Complex makes that so much easier. It's not magic, but it definitely helps make it easier. It is a complete metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. So what you're talking about is a natural weight loss option. So if you're a person that doesn't want to go get a prescription, you're not into injections, this is a great choice for you. In addition to the metabolism boost, you get to lower stress and cortisol levels, you get better sleep. It can help control appetite and cravings, all-day focused energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. If you want the help, and look, we all need it, I know I do, go to Supplement Superstores, tell them your story, mention Kevin Wheeler, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Let's take a break.
Good idea.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
You know, we fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused.
I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
And doesn't 4 also kill majority rule?
Yup. Creates minority rule, where just 5% of the most liberal statewide voters in one Missouri congressional district that block any citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass common-sense conservative citizen ballot measures.
That's crazy town stuff.
And we've needed our citizen ballot measure power to pass some big conservative stuff, like outlawing tax hikes without voter approval, lobbyist reforms, and term limits for career politicians.
No way I'm letting a tiny fraction of liberals derail our conservative power. I'm no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Pay 4 buttons or inch per care governance.
It is 6:35. This is Total Information AM. We're less than 5 minutes away from our next check of traffic and weather, so stay with us. Right now, it's time for your Money Report, sponsored by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano, Elder Law Attorneys.
This is Bloomberg Money Minute. The owner of Men's Wearhouse is on its way to becoming a public company once again. Menswear company Tailored Brands has filed for initial public offering. The retailer filed for Chapter 11 in 2020 after pandemic lockdowns kept office workers at home. Tailored Brands emerged from bankruptcy later that year, eliminating close to $700 million in debt as part of the process. Turning to the markets, the latest escalation in the Middle East is weighing on stocks. The U.S. and Iran exchanged strikes overnight. Tech stocks are leading the way lower. S&P futures are down 21 points. NASDAQ futures falling 1%. And Home Depot is expanding its loyalty program for professional contractors with discounts that go beyond tools and lumber. Members of its Pro Extra Rewards program can save on gas at 7-Eleven, get meal deals at Jimmy John's, discounts of Tecovas work boots, and a free trial for Rosie's AI answering service. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck taxed, your property taxed, everything you buy taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5. Paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It is 6:38, traffic and weather on the way. New research suggests AI may be leading to early retirements for some white-collar workers.
The study out of Boston College's Center for Retirement Research found those 55 and older working in AI-exposed fields were more likely to leave the workforce after the launch of ChatGPT in 2022 than before.
That suggests there may be some aspect of those jobs that's forcing them either out of work, they're being laid off, or that they are choosing to leave their employment because they perhaps don't want to adopt the technology.
Researcher Jeffrey Sanzenbacher tells me this shift is reminiscent of the 80s and 90s when personal computers became commonplace.
There were a lot of workers who left work early because they just didn't want to learn this new technology. But then there were some workers who learned the technology and made them more efficient. They actually worked longer. So there's sort of these two different groups.
And he says historically, blue-collar workers have retired earlier than those in white-collar fields, but now that gap is narrowing.
That is Virginia Van Zandt reporting.
It's 6:40. That means we need to get a check on your morning commute from Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's a great start to your morning. If you're headed northbound on Highway 270, not seeing any delays now, make your way north of 55 through 44, all the way up through to Highway 64. This update is brought to you by Huff Heating and AC. Northbound on Highway 55, a great run between 270 and downtown St. Louis. Delay-free into downtown. Westbound 5564 crossing the Poplar. Westbound 70 crossing the Mutual Veterans Bridge. Not seeing too many delays as well. Eastbound on Highway 70 coming in from the Forest Tell area, headed towards Wentzville through that road construction project there. Eastbound 64 looks good starting at Lake St. Louis. Make your way up to the Boone Bridge into St. Louis County. Our next traffic update at 6:50, Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
For dependable, no-pressure home comfort solutions, turn to Huff Heating and Air Conditioning. Locally owned and family operated for over 40 years. Our team will work with you on a plan that fits your home's needs with financing available. And as always, your family's comfort is our family's business. Learn more at huffheating.com.
6:41, and the sun is shining brightly in downtown St. Louis. It did not feel bad at all this morning, honestly. The suffocating humidity was the ingredient missing, I believe, Joe Lundberg. Or not. Joe?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
I'm here.
hi.
I'm here.
I was saying it seems like the humidity is missing this morning.
It's not bad this morning. When we can start out below 70 degrees on a summer morning, that's not bad. That's an indication that the air mass is relatively dry. I use that term loosely considering how much rain we've had so far this month. Thankfully, there's very little in the forecast for the week ahead. Sunshine will dominate start to finish today. Not terribly humid. Certainly not going to be hot or high 89. Should be clear tonight. Lows about 70. Mostly sunny tomorrow. A bit hotter and humid. The afternoon high 93. Sunshine and some clouds, about the same on Wednesday, low 90s. There is a risk for a thunderstorm Thursday with clouds and sunshine again, low 90s. Right now looks like Friday's partly sunny, just hot, the high 93. 67 degrees, 68 degrees at St. Peter's, at 71 in Florissant, 73 under sunny skies downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Joe Pott. I'll tell you how the Cards did yesterday, trying to sweep the Braves. That's coming up in sports.
It's 6:42. Members of the Missouri and Illinois Senate delegation reacting to the sudden death of their colleague, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Missouri Republican Eric Schmidt says Graham was unquestionably the life of any dinner, calling him, quote, one of a kind. Schmidt sends prayers to the senator's family and friends.
Illinois Democrat Dick Durbin says he will never forget Graham reaching across the aisle to co-sponsor his DREAM Act, realizing how important it was to him. Durbin says Graham could be a fierce Republican partisan one day and then a key bipartisan ally the next. The two just returned from a trip to Turkey for the NATO summit.
The death of Graham at 71 and the continued absence of Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell at 84 calls attention to the average age of U.S. lawmakers.
Never in history has Congress been this old. The U.S. Constitution sets the minimum age requirement to be in the Senate at 30 and the House at 25. It does not set a maximum. The average age of the current Senate is 64. Half the members are over 65. The oldest, Chuck Grassley in Iowa, 92. The youngest, John Ossoff of Georgia, 39. Average age in the House has soared from under 50 in the early 1980s to 58. Wayne Cabot, ABC News.
No end in sight for the parasitic outbreak that has hit parts of the nation hard, especially Michigan.
Foodborne outbreaks of cyclosporiasis have been linked to various types of imported fruits and vegetables. SLU Care General Internist Dr. Fred Buckold at SSM Health, St. Louis University Hospital.
So a lot of leafy products are involved, so like lettuce, the salad mixes you see could be contaminated. Fresh herbs such as basil and cilantro, I think, are also things that can be affected that you get in a produce aisle. And then berries as well, particularly raspberries, but I kind of assume all berries as well. So it's kind of interesting because those are in a way, Fred, a little bit harder to clean in terms of produce, and the key is to wash it much more thoroughly than maybe a lot of people do, myself included.
Common symptoms of cyclosporiasis include severe diarrhea, bloating, nausea, as well as fatigue. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
American consumers and the Federal Reserve being hit with another high-cost headache. the gusher of investment and data centers, likely topping $700 billion this year, all to power artificial intelligence, has made memory chips, computer processors, and other equipment, as well as electricity, more expensive.
Economists expect it will continue to push up inflation at least through the end of this year. While it won't be as large a spike as occurred in 2021 through 2023, when inflation peaked at 9.1%, massive AI spending is likely to keep prices rising more quickly than the Federal Reserve would like. It's 6:45.
Cardinals playing their final game ahead of the All-Star break yesterday, and after the Redbirds took an early lead, they trailed 3-1. In the sixth inning, it was 3-1 still before the Cards loaded the bases with 2 outs, and that's where Jose Fermin came up big.
Dodd responsible for the other 2 runners. The 2-2 pitch. A swing and a line drive, base hit, right center field. Walker scores. Here comes Nootbaar with a tying run. The throw goes into second. We're tied at 3 on a clutch 2-out hit by Jose Fermin.
It stayed tied until the 8th. Jojo Romero on, 2 outs. Michael Harris, the second hits.
The fans stand at Busch Stadium. The pitch on the way, up and in. And Harris says he was clipped by the pitch. And the home plate umpire now awards him first base, and time is called by Oliver Marmol.
Wait a minute. He's wondering, why didn't you call it? You can't let him call it, and that's what happened.
And they want to challenge that. They want to challenge home plate umpire Adam Beck on the decision to send Harris to first. Harris is the one who called the hit by pitch.
It was challenged. It was upheld. An argument ensued, and Oliver Marmol took the heave-ho. He was ejected from the ballgame. So the inning continues, and Mauricio Dubon hits with runners on.
0-2 on Mauricio Dubon with runners at first and third for the Braves. The pitch, a swing and a slowly hit ground ball to Mason Wynn. He throws to first. It's high and off the front of the dugout. The Braves take the lead. Wynn was going to have to hurry the throw, and I don't think he got a good grip on the baseball.
Cards could not score against the All-Star Raciel Iglesias in the bottom of the 9th. Braves hold on for the 4-3 win. Cardinals take a 50-45 record into the break. That's nearly identical to what the record was at the break in 2025. Cards are 8.5 games out of the division race and a game back in the wild card race. Well, Major League Soccer resumes its season this week after taking a break for the World Cup. St. Louis City will play host to Sporting KC Thursday night at Energizer Park. Matt Seaback, the team's chief experience officer, joined Sports on a Sunday Morning yesterday, said the league and City hope to capitalize on the excitement generated by the World Cup.
Our league was literally founded in '94 after the World Cup was here the last time. So to think about, how far the game has come in this country, we're ready to ride that wave again. So, our games at Energizer Park have been loud and noisy and sold out, and we've been very, very fortunate the first 4 years in our league. But, we just want to introduce the game to more casual sports fans. So, maybe if you grew up baseball, football, hockey fan, that's great. But hopefully if you're talking soccer this summer and you know that we've got a professional sports team here in town that you can come check out, we're ready and willing for those new fans to come join the party.
Kickoff Thursday is 7:30, and KMOX will simulcast that game between City and Sporting KC. Next sports update comes up at 7:15. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Your health story is shaped by more than genetics. Everyday choices like nutrition, physical activity, sleep, tobacco use, and routine screenings all play a role in your future health. Siteman Cancer Center's Your Disease Risk helps you understand how family history and lifestyle work together, offering personalized insights to support healthier decisions. Knowing your risks today can help protect your tomorrow. Visit siteman.washu.edu/YDR.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, it is 6:50. The sun is shining brightly here in downtown West. We'll take a look at that forecast in just a moment. First, it is time to check in with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And this report is brought to you by i3 Broadband. It's very light this Monday morning. Light volume all around, headed northbound on Highway 270 between 55, 44, and 64. Coming in from St. Charles County, eastbound on Highway 64, eastbound on Highway 70, into downtown St. Louis as well. Westbound on Highway 55, 64, crossing the Poplar. The road construction is now in place. Westbound Highway 70 at David Holcomb Parkway. You're down to one lane between now and 2 p.m. They'll reestablish that starting at 7 p.m. tonight after the rush hour. So pay attention for the next 3 days. You're going to have some lane restrictions out there. That's westbound Highway 70 down to one lane at David Holcomb Parkway. With the kids home for the summer, your house is a digital zoo of streaming and gaming. Switch to i3 Broadband and upgrade to your summer. Head over to i3broadband.com/radio today or call 866-806-5485 to upgrade today, because life runs better on fiber, and i3 Broadband is here for you. Our next traffic update at 6:58. Frank Ladd at the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From a weather standpoint, we're not going to see rain for a few days, so that's a welcome change from what we've been seeing. Today, it's going to be sunny and quite warm, high of 89 degrees. That's according to meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Tonight, clear skies and low of 70. Tomorrow, sunny, a little hot and humid in the afternoon, high of 93. Wednesday, more sunshine, some clouds, hot and humid again, though. High of 92. Thursday, that wet weather could return. Clouds and some sun. Humid, but a possible thunderstorm in the afternoon, a high of 93 degrees. Right now, we have sunny skies and 72 degrees downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:52, and the news continues on KMOX. St. Louis City Police describing a life-threatening situation for one officer after they disbanded a parking lot takeover early Sunday. It began at a gas station lot on Hall Street near Gimlin. Police say the pursuit of a reckless driver, a silver Ford Focus, nearly struck an officer who was trying to place stop sticks in the roadway.
Officers say the chase ended near Adelaide and Interstate 70, where the woman behind the wheel, a Hazelwood resident, was taken into custody. An 8-month-old child in the car removed and given to a guardian, and a short-barrel rifle with an extended magazine confiscated. Police say they also detained 2 passengers, a North St. Louis County woman and a Moscow Mills man, for possible charges.
A woman has died after being swept away by floodwaters over the weekend in Crawford County. According to the sheriff's office, the body of 23-year-old Faith Gregory was found Saturday nearly 2 miles downstream from her home in Hazel Creek. First responders rescued more than 350 people Friday and Saturday after heavy downpours across southeast Missouri.
A pilot killed Sunday when a firefighting aircraft went down in a reservoir in southwest Colorado. ABC's Jim Ryan has the latest on the western wildfires.
The K-MAX heavy lift helicopter was in the air for nearly an hour, dipping its bucket into the Silver Jack Reservoir in Gunnison County, drawing up water and dumping it onto the Gold Mountain wildfire. After 5 in the afternoon, fire commanders got a report that the aircraft had gone into the reservoir. The pilot's body was recovered 5 hours later.
And also in the news, AP correspondent Luke Garrett tells us more about the death of a beloved actor.
Sam Neill, the New Zealand actor whose career spanned art house film to international blockbuster, has died at the age of 78. A statement posted by Neil's family on his social media page said his death was sudden and unexpected, but that he remained cancer-free after previously being diagnosed with angioimmunoblastic T-cell lymphoma in 2023. Born in Northern Ireland in 1947, he and his family emigrated to New Zealand when he was 7. He came to prominence in the late 1970s with a series of TV and film roles. In 1979, his career was elevated by the film My Brilliant Career, which brought him international acclaim. But it was Steven Spielberg's 1993 classic Jurassic Park which brought him the highest level of fame.
They do move in herds.
He came to be known in his native New Zealand as a modest and unassuming person who didn't embrace celebrity. In 2023, he was awarded a knighthood by Queen Elizabeth II for outstanding contribution to film.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement.
It's your birthday.
It is July 13th. Our celebrity birthdays include movie actor Harrison Ford is 83 years old today. Happy birthday to TV actor Patrick Stewart. He is 85. Movie actor Ken Jeong is 56. And baseball player for the New York Yankees, Cody Bellinger, is the big 3-0.
Remember, if you have a birthday or anniversary you would like announced during this segment, email it to totalam@kmox.com. The birthday shout-out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back. Happy birthday wishes to Janet McKeon. Also to Rosie Patrick from the Springs, Mary O'Brien from all your St. Dismas friends. Happy birthday wishes to Sarah Hagan, Joseph Paleo, and Deanne Babler.
This is the best birthday ever.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Grateful for the work of the Humane Society of Missouri, and I'm sure you are too, because not only are they a great place to go to, well, adopt a new furry friend for your family, whether it's a dog or a cat, or they even will have, hamsters, guinea pigs, sometimes birds, who knows? But they are always making sure to find new homes, forever homes for our furry friends. And their animal cruelty task force doesn't just serve the St. Louis area. They serve the entire state of Missouri. They put on hundreds of thousands of miles a year just driving around the state to rescue pets from puppy mills or animals from farms where they're being neglected. It is really a mission of love, and I have seen this firsthand when I run into members of the Animal Cruelty Task Force, and they're always so happy to see Lola because they rescued her from a puppy mill in southern Missouri. Anyway, you can go to hsmo.org to learn more about how you can donate or support the mission or adopt or foster a new furry friend. The Humane Society of Missouri.
Bill, that's a big smile for an old politician.
I'm thinking about our plan. It's slick enough to make a lobbyist blush. First, we hoodwink voters with Amendment 5. Tell them it's a tax cut. Once they're hooked, we decide who pays the higher taxes.
So it's not a tax cut plan, and we don't get a say?
Right, just swaps who pays the tax, but it does remove 3 voter-passed taxpayer constitutional protections. That lets us levy new taxes on services, increase sales taxes, and even tax home sales, and voters will no longer get to vote on tax hikes.
Higher sales taxes on groceries, gas, service taxes on doctor visits, childcare, and even rent on apartments. Jeez. Taxes could exceed 20%.
Sure, they figure that up to 80% of taxpayers will pay more taxes. Many, hundreds more. Seniors, they'll get hit even harder, but our big donors will cut a fat hog.
The ones getting butchered by Amendment 5 are most taxpayers. I'm voting no on 5.
Paid for by Missourians for fair taxation.
Let's check in on the roadways with Frank Ladd good in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Delay free into downtown St. Louis now. Westbound 5564 crossing the Poplar. Looks good up in North County as well. Westbound on Highways 270 crossing the Chain of Rocks Bridge. No problems to report into downtown. Westbound on Highway 70 crossing the Musial Veterans Bridge. A great run northbound on Highway 270 this morning between 5544 and Highway 64. We do have that road work westbound on Highway 70 at David Hokel Parkway. That's going to last until 2 o'clock this afternoon. They'll open it back up for afternoon rush hour. You're down to just one lane through that stretch, passing the overpass. I'm Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. More of a shooting war between the U.S. and Iran. Oil prices have jumped. ABC's Selena Wang.
U.S. officials had expected Iran to publicly commit to stop attacking ships in the Strait after weekend negotiations in Oman. But instead, Iran says it opened fire after several ships used unapproved routes and ignored warnings from its navy.
Israeli air attacks on Gaza City. Several deaths, say Palestinian health officials. The Israeli military says it targeted terrorists. Violent storms and flooding from Pennsylvania to Missouri. Extreme heat across much of the nation. Cleanup after fast-moving microburst storms in Philadelphia yesterday. Mayor Sherelle Parker.
We saw utility poles literally split in half, like matchsticks.
South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham's sudden death was from a ruptured aorta from heart disease, says preliminary info from the medical examiner's office. This is ABC News. A reminder that wildlife can get wild and dangerous. It happened at Yellowstone National Park Friday, says ABC's Melissa Adon.
The man and his grandchild stopped to take photos of the bison. Seconds later, the massive mammal then charges, chasing the family around trees before the man is thrown into the air, seriously injuring him.
Bison!
The grandfather is lucky to be alive. Millions of people visit Yellowstone every year to see the park's famous wildlife. Unfortunately, this is not the first time we've seen bison charging tourists.
Sam Neill, the actor from Jurassic Park, who also played Holly Hunter's husband in The Piano, has died. He was 78. In court today, a French teen facing mischief and public nuisance charges in Singapore after posting a video on social media of himself in a shopping mall licking a straw from an orange juice vending machine and then putting it back. Some prison time is possible for him. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
It is now 7:02, and in downtown St. Louis, mostly sunny skies, 70 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Brian Feldman. Our top story, 5 people dead, 2 others injured in what authorities are calling a targeted mass shooting in East St. Louis yesterday.
Illinois State Police have 2 teenage suspects in custody, one 15 years old, the other 16. At least one of them is related to the 7 people who were shot across 3 different locations in East St. Louis on Sunday, including Jones Park and the Gompers Housing Project. ISP Director Brendan Kelly read off the names of the victims at a press conference Sunday afternoon.
Cherie May, Quentin Thompson, Devin May, Shania Thompson, and Patricia May.
Kelly says investigators are sure the shootings were targeted.
You can look at the family relationship and the relationship to the suspects that have been apprehended, and you can see that it was focused on this particular family.
State police tracked down the car the teenagers were driving and forced them to stop near Frank Holton State Park. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Investigators have not released a motive, but say they are working with prosecutors to file formal charges.
Rushing water swept away and killed a woman in Crawford County Friday, while rapidly rising floodwaters also put search crews at severe rush as they rush to help those stranded over the weekend.
I never realized how strong water was.
The threat of the water to the responders was very significant, very dangerous.
The leader of Missouri Task Force 1, the state's search and rescue agency, says local responders and the state's mutual aid response did not let the difficult conditions keep them from making more than 300 rescues.
They saved lives. They made a difference. 100% for sure.
The cleanup will not be easy.
This is just the beginning. This is just day one.
It's just devastating. You know, all the work you put in, and it's just all gone.
That is Fox 2's Jeff Bernthal reporting.
The Missouri National Guard's Adjutant General says his soldiers train for dynamic missions such as Friday's rescue of more than 200 youths and staffers from a flooded campground. Major General Charles Houseman says they used Black Hawk helicopters to evacuate Camp Tomsock as between 6 and 12 inches of rain fell in Reynolds and Iron counties. Houseman says it was an honor to assist emergency responders with the National Guard's unique capabilities.
Voting is already underway in Missouri's August 4th primary election. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins tells MissouriNet voters should know there are several ballot options available when they head to the polls.
The primary election, they ask what party you're affiliated with, and you can either choose a party ballot or you could actually choose a non-party ballot and just vote on the constitutional amendments and other local election ballot issues that are on the ballot.
Statewide, Missouri voters will consider 4 constitutional amendments August 4th, covering state park funding, the election of the Jackson County assessor, changes to the initiative petition process, and a plan to phase out the state's income tax.
One local county's leaders will vote tonight on a 6-month moratorium on data centers.
The St. Charles County Council is expected to give the bill final approval this evening. County Executive Steve Ellman says the county needs to do extensive research into data centers during this moratorium.
What's good about them, what's bad about them, from the pros and the cons, from the experts on both sides, so that if and when we do have to make a decision in the future, we're prepared to make it.
He adds the time to pause data centers is now, with no proposals to build one anywhere in the county. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Survivors of mental health and substance abuse disorders now have a path to mentor people facing the same struggles through a behavioral health care position in Illinois.
Certified peer professionals provide behavioral health care in a mentorship-like way. They share their lived experiences with mental health and substance abuse disorders with patients in a clinical setting. Nanette Larson with the Illinois Department of Human Services says the role is filling a gap in healthcare that professionals didn't even know was so needed.
It gives people hope. It gives people role models. Individuals are able to interact with people like themselves who have similar struggles and challenges, but who are kind of on the other side of that.
There's now 1,000 certified peer professionals in the state of Illinois, which is a huge increase compared to the little over 200 who were certified in 2022. Larson says peer professionals are located in settings beyond traditional behavioral health care and are located all around the state.
Really robust representation of certified folks in southern Illinois, so obviously outside of St. Louis, but even further south where the needs are so great.
Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
A drug you can inject or spray up your nose, causing a buzz online. It's supposed to make your skin tanner and your body thinner. But doctors warn it comes with many risks, potentially including a dangerous form of cancer.
Melanotan 2 is a peptide, which means it causes your body to do certain things. In this drug's case,
not only does it cause you to pigment and make your pigment cells actually produce melanin, but it can also do things like act as an appetite suppressant.
That's dermatologist Dr. Anthony Rossi. He says the Barbie drug comes with a lot of other reported adverse effects, and some case studies are showing it may cause melanoma.
I've cut out melanomas in patients who have admitted to using the Barbie shot.
He says there's no medical benefit to taking this drug and is concerned that young people especially are procuring this unregulated substance online.
It's really sad to just see so much misinformation just because of TikTok. Because, when you're young, you don't have that risk-reward ratio or that sort of idea that what I could be doing is really harmful.
That's Danny DiCrescenzo of KNX News, San Francisco.
It is 7:08. We'll take a break and return with traffic and weather here on Total Information AM.
Listen up. If you have not paid self-employment, business, or individual taxes in years, the IRS will find you. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. I offer real solutions. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceDruryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
What has your candidate actually delivered? In Clayton, Ladue, Olivet, and Warson Woods, there's just one Democrat running for state representative who can answer. That's Sidney Clark. As mayor, he's delivered more than $100 million in economic growth and some of the strongest home values in the region. Balanced budgets, steady leadership, a neighbor since 1973. And now, Sidney Clark will protect what you've built, stopping costly data centers from hiking your utility bills, and voting no on Amendment 5, which actually increases taxes on everything you buy. No other candidate in this race can say it. Sidney Clark has already done the job, and he's ready from day one. Sidney Clark, results, not rhetoric. Democrat for State Representative District 99.
I'm Sidney Clark, and I approve of this message. Paid for by Sidney Clark for State Representative District 99. Tammy Clark, Treasurer.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 7:10. That means we need to get a check on the roadways from Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've got volume now driving through that work zone that's westbound Highway 70 at David Holcomb Parkway. That lasts until 2 o'clock today. You're down to just one lane, part of that ongoing I-70 widening project. Headed northbound on Highway 270 so far this morning. We are delay-free between 55 and 44. A great run coming in eastbound on Highway 44 from the Valley Park area, making your way towards Highway 270, northbound 170, southbound 170. Both delay-free, northbound headed towards 270, southbound headed towards 64. And it's a good run through the Central Corridor, east and westbound 64, from Lindbergh all the way up through Forest Park. Our next traffic update at 7:20. I'm Frank Ladd at the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather. Sunshine today and quite warm this afternoon, high 89, then clear tonight, low 70. Mostly sunny tomorrow, rather hot and humid for the afternoon, high 93. Sunshine and some clouds, hot and humid Wednesday, high 92. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Right now in downtown St. Louis, we have sunshine, 70 degrees.
Highlights from the Cards and the Braves final game before the All-Star break coming up straight ahead in sports.
The news continues at 7:11. Homicide detectives investigating a late Sunday shooting death in the College Hill neighborhood of North St. Louis. They say a man gunned down in the 2000 block of Aubert around 10 last night. No word on any suspects.
An Alton man died in an early Sunday morning crash in Madison County. Sheriff's deputies say it happened on Montclair Avenue in Godfrey. Investigators determined the Jeep of 31-year-old Anthony Stewart hit a curb mailbox tree, then overturned.
It's been 6 decades since one of Chicago's most horrific crimes. Terry Keschner from Odyssey affiliate WBBM reports.
On the night of July 13th, 1966, a man named Richard Speck entered the back door of a townhouse at 2319 East 100th Street. Student nurses from South Chicago Community Hospital lived there. Investigators say Speck told the young women he was going to rob them, but then tied them up and brutally murdered them, killing 8 women in all, stabbing or strangling them. News photos show hundreds of people gathered around as the bodies of the young women were taken out of the building in the morning. One woman had survived by hiding under a bed until that next morning. Speck was captured 2 days later. He was sentenced to 50 to 100 years in prison for each of the murders. He died in 1991. Terry Keschner, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
There's a new kitchen in Chesterfield that's inviting volunteers to cook meals for those who need them. Kitchen of Kindness is a new initiative of Chabad of Chesterfield.
It'll meet once a month starting in August and allow volunteers to prep, cook, package, and deliver meals to local residents and families who are going through a difficult time. Hanala Rubenfeld, co-director of the Chabad, says the gesture is intended to remind struggling community members that they are not alone.
It's really more than just providing the actual physical food, but it's really trying to make sure that people feel remembered, cared for, and part of something.
A new study finds AI could be pushing older workers into early retirement.
A lot of talk these days about AI's impact on recent college grads, but it seems older adults are feeling it too. The study out of Boston College's Center for Retirement Research compared the number of workers 55 and older in AI-exposed fields, leaving the workforce before and after ChatGPT's release in 2022. Here's researcher Jeffrey Sanzenbacher.
Older workers were more likely to leave work after the launch of ChatGPT than they were before the launch.
As for the deciding factor, it could be the willingness to adopt AI.
If you're technology averse, then something like AI is probably going to be something that could cut your career a little short.
And he says historically, blue-collar workers have been more likely to retire earlier, but now
we're seeing some of that gap close in the data where, a web designer isn't working as much longer than a roofer than they used to.
That's Virginia Van Zant reporting.
Cards and Braves wrapping up a series yesterday, final series ahead of the All-Star break. First inning, Cards get on the board, 2 out, walk, and then it's Alec Burleson.
From the belt, checks out second, and pitches. A swing, and there's a drive. That's hit well to left field, back to the wall, and that ball is off the wall. Burleson doubles in Walker. A wide turn at second for Burley as Dubon picks up the ball in short left field. Burleson signals to the Cardinal dugout, celebrating the RBI double, 1-0 with 2 down.
Second inning, Dustin May on the mound for the Redbirds, and with runners on second and third.
The 2-2 pitch. Inside, that gets away from Crooks coming down the line. Smith is going to score. We're tied at 1. The other runners advance, Riley to third, and Baldwin down to second base on the wild pitch.
Still Dustin May in the fourth inning. The Braves back to the top of the lineup with 2 on base for Drake Baldwin.
And here comes the 2-2 pitch, and that's hit hard into right field. Walker's going to get it on the run. We may have a play at the plate. Here's the throw to the plate. It's in time, and he's out at the plate. What a throw by Jordan Walker. A terrific throw. The Braves say, hold on a moment. We want to look at that. But a terrific throw. Crooks on the tag, and they do want to look at it.
After review, the runner's hand touched the plate before he was tagged. The call on the field is overturned. The runner is safe. Atlanta retains their challenge.
Well, there you have it. It is a base hit and an RBI by Drake Baldwin, and it's 2-1 Atlanta.
Unfortunate because the throw was a great one from Jordan Walker. Dustin May went 4 innings. Justin Brule was on in the 6th inning when the Braves tacked on.
Out of the stretch from the belt, here's the pitch. A swing, and there's a hit to left center field, and the Braves have a 3-1 lead. The ball goes to the wall. Hicklin goes into second with an RBI double. With 2 outs, the Braves add on.
So the Cards load the bases in the 6th inning, trailing 3-1. Jose Fermin comes up big.
Dodd responsible for the other 2 runners. The 2-2 pitch. A swing and a line drive, base hit, right center field. Walker scores. Here comes Nootbaar with a tying run. The throw goes into second. We're tied at 3 on a clutch 2-out hit by Jose Fermin.
That, of course, is your cut of the game. It's brought to you by The Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. JoJo Romero on in the 8th, 2 on, 2 outs for Michael Harris II.
The fans stand at Busch Stadium. The pitch on the way, up and in. And Harris says he was clipped by the pitch. And the home plate umpire now awards him first base, and time is called by Oliver Marmol.
Wait a minute. He's wondering, why didn't you call it? You can't let him call it, and that's what happened.
And they want to challenge that. They want to challenge home plate umpire Adam Beck on the decision to send Harris to first. Harris is the one who called the hit by pitch.
With Mauricio Dubon at the plate, he grounds a ball too short with runners at first and third. He threw it, Mason Wynn rather, throws it away, and the Braves hang on for the 4-3 win, avoiding the sweep. They go into the All-Star break with a 50-45 record. Jordan Walker's in the Home Run Derby tonight. That's a 7 o'clock start on Netflix. Next sports update is 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
When my wife and I got married after both graduating law school, we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. Ultima had to give me her gas card just to drive home. We never could have imagined that one day we would have the largest injury firm in the world and $25 billion in money collected and counting. As good Catholics, we had 4 children fast. They all work in the firm today. Our family protecting yours. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. But our greatest gift was years away, grandchildren. Today we have 6 and counting. It's the greatest joy that we have ever experienced. I think about them all day long. Our family promises to protect your family should you need us. Call us. It's easy. Visit forthepeople.com and make sure you hug your grandchildren. God's final gift to us. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight discussing sarcomas with Dr. Angela Herbie.
In small groups of patients, there is an inherited genetic risk, but this is the vast minority of patients. And we typically identify these groups of individuals because of numerous family members having these rare cancers, and many of them being young. When I say young, anybody under the age of 40.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
After a disaster, emotional recovery takes time. Show Me Hope Missouri is here for you with free, confidential support. Counselors help with stress, coping skills, and connect to resources. If the St. Louis tornado impacted you, visit moshowmehope.org from Missouri Department of Mental Health.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:21. That means we need to find out what the morning commute looks like from Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've got an incident reported Bayless at Union. No reports of any lane blockage there. Other than that, we are incident-free and delay-free this Monday morning into downtown St. Louis. Westbound Highway 70 crossing the Musial Veterans Bridge. We are delay-free as well on westbound on Highway 5564. No problems to report crossing the Poplar. Northbound on Highway 270, just a few more headlights and taillights now. Make your way past Doherty Ferry in Manchester, but really no slowdown there. The only slowdown I'm seeing is approaching that new roadwork zone, and it's westbound on Highway 70, David Holka Parkway. That has you down to one lane. That second lane will open back up at 2 o'clock this afternoon for the afternoon rush hour. Be back closed at 7 o'clock tonight. Our next traffic update at 7:30. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, it should be pretty nice today, considering July and all. Sunny and warm with a high of 89. More humidity by tomorrow with a high of 93. Right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got sunshine and 70.
The news continues at 7:22. Missouri schools have a new option to protect students from active shooters. Stuart McMillan has more on the new law creating an elite school safety force.
They are called the Missouri Rangers. Governor Mike Kehoe signed the plan into law last week to bridge the gap between armed guards and police in schools. State Senator David Gregory of Chesterfield sponsored the bill. He says lawmakers cannot wait for a tragedy to take action.
We don't want to wait. We don't want to be reactive and wait until it becomes a big media frenzy to try to do something about it. So that's exactly what we did with the Missouri Rangers.
Missouri Rangers must pass a physical test stricter than the Marines. Candidates will also undergo intense combat and shooting drills. Gregory says the elite force is recruiting dads and retirees so they can go in before the police are able to arrive.
The number one way to protect our kids is response time. And the average response time of our police officers, which is incredible, is still between 3 and 7 minutes. Imagine 7 minutes. A school shooter unopposed is going through killing our students. It's not acceptable.
School districts have the final say on whether they want to bring a ranger on campus. Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
A parasitic outbreak is growing across the nation, including parts of Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, and New York. KMOX health editor Fred Bodemer found more out about what's being called cyclospora. From SLU Care General Internist Dr. Fred Buchholz at St. Louis University Hospital.
This is just kind of while this is occurring, and in effect, it's really starting to affect a large number of people, I believe, in Michigan. This is a little different than like the other types of viral infections we've talked about, Fred. We've talked a number of times about cruises and the outbreak of norovirus or other viruses that cause a fairly severe diarrhea. The advantage of those, or not advantage, I guess, but the key thing with those is it can get you very sick, no doubt. But more or less, it's a viral illness that's fairly self-limited and lasts for a short time, hopefully. With this, the issue is it's a different type of organism altogether. All those the previous ones we're talking about is a virus, but cyclosporiasis is a different kind of organism that can kind of persist. So you could get a diarrhea, get pretty sick with it, recover, and then continue to have diarrhea at another point in time as it kind of, grows and shrinks in volume in your body. So it in that sense, it's a little bit more difficult to treat and detect. So that's probably the biggest part about this. It's just a little bit more hardy. How you prevent it is different than how you prevent viral infections. And this is not a human-to-human spread. This is really you getting it from contaminated products, which is mostly, from what I understand, is fruits and vegetables. Interesting enough, I think, the way to prevent this, and I think the key thing is, thoroughly washing the vegetables you have, particularly fresh produce. What I didn't know, which I found interesting, is kind of the things that it does affect. So a lot of leafy products are involved. So like lettuce, the salad mixes you see could be contaminated. Fresh herbs such as basil and cilantro, I think, are also things that can be affected that you get in produce aisle, and then berries as well, particularly raspberries, but I kind of assume all berries as well. So it's kind of interesting because those are in a way, Fred, a little bit harder to clean in terms of produce, and the key is to wash it much more thoroughly than maybe a lot of people do, myself included.
Do leftovers play any role in this? What are the tips when it comes to leftovers?
Yeah, so I think the answer is yes. The kind of interesting things about leftovers, Fred, is the general rule is that these are killed by heat. So if you heat up material, if you heat up food, it will kill it. If you have leftovers that aren't heated or anything where it kind of can sit and grow, because any kind of food product has stuff that allows this parasite to grow. Those are things to avoid. Even with the fresh vegetables, Fred, it's worth thinking about like just cooking vegetables rather than eating them raw or kind of freshly prepared. So anything that gets cooked up to about 140 degrees Fahrenheit will kill this parasite. But again, with leftovers particularly, and I think it's something to note. Like we microwave food quite a bit with our leftovers. The microwave, the way it heats food inconsistently. So, like, I think you've all had a microwaved thing where, like, some parts of it are a little colder than others. That speaks to this of it's probably not consistently killing this germ in a way that makes it safe.
That is Dr. Fred Buchholz, a SLU Care General Internist at SSM Health St. Louis University Hospital, speaking with Fred Bottomer.
It's 7:27. That time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Let's take a break.
Good idea.
Hey, Tom, what are you doing on that Amendment 4?
We fought for our freedom and rights. I'm not giving them away without a fight.
4 takes them?
That's exactly what 4 does. For over 100 years, Missouri voters have used our constitutional power to act when the politicians refused. I'll be darned if I'm voting to pass on less freedom and power to my kids.
And doesn't 4 kill majority rule?
Yep, creates minority rule, where just 5% of statewide voters in one district can block anti-citizen-led reform, making it nearly impossible to pass citizen-led ballot measures.
That's just dumb.
And when the politicians refuse to act, we've used citizen-led ballot measures to pass some big stuff, like lobbyist reforms, term limits for career politicians, and outlawing tax hikes without voter approval.
I'm not surrendering my power and rights to a bunch of politicians and lobbyists. I've no on Amendment 4.
Hard no on 4.
Pay 4 buttons or inch per care governance.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
1-2. And that's grounded up the middle. Diving play. Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws. He got him.
St. Louis. Summer baseball is on at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals host the Cincinnati Reds July 24th through the 26th for a weekend packed with Cardinals action and giveaways like the Victory Blue jersey and Kids Fredbear hat. Round up your crew and enjoy 3 days of summer baseball and family fun. Get your tickets today at cardinals.com/promotions.
Redbird fans, this one's for you. Sunday, July 26th, the Cards take on the Reds, and kids 12 and under can get a one-of-a-kind Fredbird hat. It's colorful, fun, and perfect for cheering on the Redbirds. Plus, it's Kids Sunday with Team Fredbird. Music, games, and lots of fun in Ford Plaza. Grab your family and come have some fun at the ballpark. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is JJ Weatherholt. See you at Busch Stadium.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirafast soft shoes, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirafast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, Carol.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
It is 7:30. We've got mostly sunny skies. It is 71 degrees downtown. I'm Debbie Monterey.
And I'm Brian Feldman. Let's check in on the roadways with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're busier now northbound on Highway 270 approaching Manchester Road, but nowhere near a stop and go. Just a little hesitation, slow down there passing Manchester. By the time you make your way up to Highway 64, you're back up to speed. A little bit of a slowdown as well westbound on Highway 64, just at the west end of Forest Park, starting at about the Tam Avenue overpass, headed out towards McCausland. West of there, no problems to report, headed towards 270. The heavier pocket is out west, and it's westbound on Highway 70, though. So that's the good news, is it's only impacting westbound drivers on Highway 70 at David Hokel Parkway, where you're down to one lane. That road construction project lasts until 2 o'clock today. It'll be back up and running again at 7 o'clock after the evening rush and overnight through Tuesday at 2 p.m. as well. Our next traffic update at 7:40. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise today, not bad for mid-July. Sunny and 89 degrees, 70 overnight. Then the humidity returns for tomorrow. Mostly sunny with a 93 as the high tomorrow. It's 71 out there right now.
At 7:32, a 15 and 16-year-old in custody following a shooting in East St. Louis that killed a family of 5 and injured 2 others. That happened early Sunday morning at several locations, including Jones Park. An exact time of the shooting has not been reported. City Council member Courtney Hoffman spoke with our partners at Fox 2.
It's heartbreaking and all the way through. It's unacceptable. But the violence, we just can't normalize this type of violence in this community. We come so far. We have so much development that's going on in East St. Louis that we just cannot allow this.
The victims range from 21 years old to 74. At least one of the alleged shooters related to the victims.
Homicide detectives searching for leads in a case from the Greaterville neighborhood where a woman was shot dead inside a car. This happened early Sunday in the 2900 block of North Newstead. Police say the 43-year-old East St. Louis woman's vehicle crashed into a light pole after she was shot.
3 people behind bars after a weekend pursuit in North St. Louis put an officer and an infant in danger. St. Louis City Police say a woman driving a sedan sped away from a parking lot takeover early Sunday. Investigators say the driver swerved toward an officer deploying spike strips, forcing the officer to jump out of the way to avoid being struck. Officers eventually stopped the car and found an 8-month-old baby inside, along with a short-barreled rifle. Police arrested the driver and 2 passengers, who all reside outside the city. A guardian came and picked up the baby.
Tonight, the St. Charles County Council is expected to approve a 6-month moratorium on new data centers. County Executive Steve Ellman says they'll use this time to study the impact data centers have on the community and whether they're right for St. Charles.
The information I have and been able to look at, I could not approve. I could not vote for a data center. But with the information I have right now, I couldn't, in good conscience, ban them either.
Unlike the moratorium on new apartment complexes, this ban covers all of St. Charles County, not just the unincorporated parts.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your money report next at 7:34.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46, and I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
You take care of your dog out of love and responsibility. But what if every scoop that you're feeding them is slowly making them sicker? Not because you're a bad pet owner, but because the pet food industry never told you the truth. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon #1 best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. Dog food is dead food, stripped of every live nutrient that your dog needs. That's where Rough Greens comes in. Just sprinkle it on top of whatever you're already feeding them. It's packed with live probiotics, enzymes, omega oils, and over 20 live vitamins and minerals, all natural and made in the USA. Thousands of dog owners are watching their pets transform. More energy, shinier coat, better mobility, and your dog could be next. Take the Rough Greens 90-day challenge. Give us 90 days and we'll give you a healthier dog. Guaranteed. Get a free Jumpstart trial bag for your dog today. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. Use discount code USA. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code USA. Rough Greens. So good, your dog will ask for it by name.
It is 7:36. We are 4 minutes away from our next check of traffic and weather. Right now, it's time for Your Money Report. It's sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is Bloomberg Money Minute. The turnaround plan for the maker of Jeep and Chrysler seems to be working. Auto giant Stellantis says shipments climbed 10% in the most recent quarter, fueled by growth in North America. Deliveries in our region jumped 38% as the automaker brought back models such as the Ram 1500 pickup with a Hemi V8 engine. On the radar for Wall Street, newly installed Federal Reserve Chair Kevin Warsh is preparing to make his first appearance before Congress tomorrow and Wednesday. This will definitely set the tone for trading. Ahead of that, stock futures are looking at losses. And Americans may be complaining about grocery prices, but buying food for our homes is actually taking up a smaller share of our wallets than ever before. Last year, households spent just 4.8% of disposable income on food at home, the lowest level since the USDA began tracking the data in 1997. That's down from 6.06% back then. It's also far below the share spent in many other countries. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
This is the take care of my family goal. This is the enjoy the life I've built goal. This is the set up a foundation goal. This is Busey, where your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth, through partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
It's Tom Ackerman. Gamma Tree Experts goes back to 1954 when Frank Gamma started the business with a pickup truck and hand tools. Today, Frank's sons, Tim and Tom Gamma, carry the business on, and they do a marvelous job. They have an incredible team that will trim trees, that will look at damage and assess it and clean it out, that will do an assortment of treatments for trees that need it. All throughout the St. Louis area, we have trees of all shapes, sizes, and types, and Gamma Tree Experts knows them all. Whether it's home, business, or municipal needs, Gamma Tree Experts can help your home, business, or municipality. It is Gamma Tree Experts, the genuine, the original. Go online at gammatree.com. You can read all about their services. Give them a call, have them come over and consult you. I can't recommend them enough. They are the tree company in St. Louis. They are Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck taxed, your property taxed, everything you buy taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5, paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It's 7:40 on this Monday, July 13th. I'm Brian Feldman alongside Debbie Monterey. Let's get a check on the roadways with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Just a couple of pockets of off-the-pace volume now, northbound on Highway 270, Doherty Ferry, up to about Manchester Road, westbound on Highway 64, passing Oakland, headed out to about Big Bend, ramping onto eastbound Highway 64 from southbound 170. Into downtown St. Louis, though, we are delay-free, westbound 5564, crossing the Poplar, westbound Highway 70, crossing the Musial Veterans Bridge. A good run-in from St. Charles County, eastbound on Highway 64, Lake St. Louis, all the way to the Boone Bridge, eastbound 70, making your way towards the Blanchette Bridge from Highway 79. We are down to one lane, though, westbound on Highway 70 at David Hochul Parkway. That road construction project will end at about 2 o'clock this afternoon for afternoon rush and then be back up and running again at 7 o'clock tonight. I'm Frank Ladd with traffic from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
CherryCounty.com. All right, it is 7:41, and we are going to check in right now with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. And I think that most of Missouri will be glad to hear that we really don't have a whole lot of rain in this forecast.
We've turned the spigots off, Debbie, and mercifully so. After all the rain that we've had the last couple of weeks, we don't need any more for a while. An opportunity to dry things out today. Bright sunshine, our high 89. Then tonight will be clear, a low of 70. Another sun-filled day tomorrow. Kind of hot and humid. We'll get to about 92 or 93. Pretty similar on Wednesday with sunshine and some clouds. Upper level disturbance may touch off a thunderstorm Thursday afternoon, but it should be fairly spotty in nature and largely to our south. Otherwise, partly sunny, the high 93. Some sunshine Friday, the high again in the lower 90s. It's up to 74 at St. Peter's, 73 in Florissant. Sunny and 74 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Joe Pott. I'll tell you how good Jordan Walker has been leading into the All-Star break. That's straight ahead in sports.
The news continues at 7:43. Missouri's two U.S. senators mourning the loss of a key Republican caucus member.
Josh Hawley says Lindsey Graham loved this country, loved South Carolina, and loved a good fight. He calls the late senator a champion for free speech against the giant tech companies and a great advocate for constitutionalist judges. Eric Schmidt says anyone who knew Graham has lots of fond memories and great stories. He says some of his favorites came from the golf course. Schmidt says they'd agree on things and disagree on other things, but always had lots of laughs. His office says the 71-year-old Graham died after a brief illness. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
Senator Dick Durbin, an Illinois Democrat, says Graham was part of an every important policy issue and an indispensable player in every Senate gang. Durbin says Graham most recently was lobbying each colleague on a strategy to end the war in Ukraine.
A medical examiner has found that Senator Lindsey Graham likely died after a tear in his aorta. The tear in the inner wall of the aorta, called an aortic dissection, was related to the hardening of Graham's arteries. An official cause of death will be disclosed after further testing. The prominent South Carolina Republican who served in Congress for more than 3 decades had turned 71 years old just 2 days before dying on Saturday night. His office had originally said he suffered from a brief and sudden illness. Graham was a close ally of President Donald Trump and was known for advocating a strong U.S. foreign policy. He had just returned from Ukraine, where he'd met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Haya Panjwani, Washington.
4 constitutional amendments await Missouri voters on August 4th. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins tells MissouriNet the measures cover state park funding, the Jackson County assessor, ballot initiative rules, and the future of the state's income tax.
Amendment 4 would make it a little bit harder in order to put something in the Missouri Constitution. Currently, we have things like bingo in the Missouri Constitution. And then Amendment 5 is the reduction of Missouri income tax phase out with a offset in increase of sales tax.
Additional information on the August 4th ballot question is available through the Missouri Secretary of State's office. Registered voters can still vote in person, absentee, or by mail with a notarized mail-in ballot. It's 7:45.
Well, Jordan Walker has continued to show why he's making his first career All-Star appearance this week in Philadelphia. Walker leads the majors with 74 runs driven in, and he's on quite the roll headed into the All-Star break. Yesterday in the final game before the break, he walked, stole second base in the first inning, then reached on a base hit in the 6th inning. He scored each time he was on base. The first inning walk extended an on-base streak for Walker to 18 games, matching his career high from his rookie season of 2023. Walker's currently working on a 7-game hitting streak and has at least a hit in 12 of 13 games in the month. In July, Walker's hitting .341, and he sports a 1.116 OPS. Now, just how good has Walker been in the first 93 games this year? He became just the 6th major leaguer and first Cardinal to have 100 or more hits, 22 or more home runs, 74 or more RBIs, and 13 or more stolen bases before the All-Star break. He joined some pretty elite company. Willie Mays, Reggie Jackson, Jeff Bagwell, Ken Griffey Jr., and Jose Ramirez, the other 5 on that list with Walker. Tonight, it's the All-Star Home Run Derby. Jordan Walker is among the 8 participants, and that gets underway at 7 o'clock on Netflix. Speaking of the Home Run Derby, your odds-on favorite today is the hometown hitter Kyle Schwarber at +310. And for Jordan Walker, his over-under for first-round home runs, that's 9.5. Give me the over on that one. That's your parlay of the day. That's sponsored by Circus Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. The Gateway Grizzlies also wrapping up play ahead of the All-Star break. They were on the road last night at Schaumburg.
The Gateway Grizzlies pulled off a stunning win on Sunday afternoon in Schaumburg, scoring all 4 of their runs in the top of the 8th and going ahead for good on a 3-run, 2-out home run by rookie outfielder Darrell Lee in a 4-3 victory over the Boomers, clinching the series win in Chicagoland. With an update from the Grizzlies for KMOX Sports, I'm the voice of the Grizzlies, Jason Garrett. The game began as a pitcher's duel between rookie right-hander Ben Gregory for Gateway and second-year Boomer Derek Salata for Schaumburg. Both pitchers threw the first 5 innings without allowing a run, with Gregory striking out a career-high 9 over 6 frames. He would break first as Schaumburg scored 2 runs off of him in the 6th and then 1 in the 7th off of Claudio Galva to take a 3-0 lead. In the top of the 8th, Dale Thomas's infield single to third got Gateway on the board. After a lineout by Brennan Orff off of all-star left-hander Caleb Rydell, Lee worked the count to 1-2 and hit an opposite field go-ahead 3-run home run out to left center field, stunning the crowd at Wintrust Field and putting Gateway ahead by 1. Veteran right-hander Matt Hickey would then work around the tying run on base to lead off both the 8th and 9th innings, recording a 6-out save, his 3rd of the year, and giving the Grizzlies an improbable series win. The Grizzlies head into the All-Star break at 26-30, 2.5 games back of first place in the crowded West Division standings. They will return to action on Friday night at Forefront Field in Avon, Ohio against the Lake Erie Crushers, with first pitch scheduled for 6 o'clock Central Time. All the action can be heard on the Grizzlies Media Network, powered by Odyssey.com and the free Odyssey app.
I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
They say good things come to those who wait, unless you bite into a Hot Pocket right out of the microwave. Waiting to see a financial advisor about retirement could also bring some pain. The pain of watching your money evaporate in a stock market decline. The pain of trying to figure out Social Security and Medicare on your own. Or the pain of writing huge checks to the IRS that you really didn't have to. At the All Financial Group, they believe the more you know, the better decisions they can make. They offer a complimentary retirement assessment. Find out where you are, how you're doing, and if there's a way to improve your retirement outcome. Don't wait. Call the All Financial Group today, 636-230-8824, or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com and set up your complimentary retirement review.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust, allergens, and whatever winter left behind in your vents. Your air ducts are the lungs of your home, and if they're dirty, you're breathing it in every single day. This month only, get your air ducts clean starting at just $599 per unit. That's cleaner air, better efficiency, and a fresher home guaranteed. Call 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Ask for the DGS special, ZeroResSTL.com.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
At 7:51, let's check the roadways with Frank Ladd and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, a little extra pocket of volume now eastbound Highway 70 passing 370. East of there, it's a good run towards the Blanchette Bridge. Westbound Highway 70 drivers are dealing with that construction slowdown at the David Holkel Parkway where you're down to just one lane. That has you backed up to about Wentzville Parkway now westbound on Highway 70. Eastbound drivers are unaffected due to that road construction closure. Headed northbound on Highway 270, just a pocket of volume now between Doherty Ferry and Manchester. North of there, a good run towards Highway 64 and a little bit of volume both ways, east and westbound on 64 now between 170 and Forest Park. And we do have a crash out on Highway 47 south of Warrenton at the Warrenton Golf Course there. Use some caution as they do have some lane closures in that area. Our next traffic update at 7:58. Frank Ladd, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, weather-wise, not a bad day today. The humidity returns tomorrow. It looks like sunny and warm with a high of 89. Mostly sunny, more humid tomorrow, 93. Wednesday, 92 with sunshine and some clouds. Again, more humidity. In downtown St. Louis at the moment, it's mostly sunny and 72 degrees.
The news continues at 7:52. Restaurants across the country changing what they offer because of a parasite outbreak. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
Some restaurants are now changing their menus as a parasitic intestinal infection linked to produce spreads across the country. The CDC is tracking cases of cyclosporiasis across at least 31 states, from California to New York. Officials have been unable to link the contamination to one supplier or grower. The CDC says outbreaks have typically been linked to fresh produce, such as lettuce, cilantro, and raspberries.
Foodborne outbreaks of cyclosporiasis have been linked to various types of imported fruits and vegetables. SLU General Internist Dr. Fred Buckhold at SSM Health St. Louis University Hospital says the first step of prevention is to thoroughly wash your produce before eating it. But you also need to keep in mind your leftovers.
The general rule is that anything, these are killed by heat. So if you heat up material, if you heat up food, it will kill it. If you have leftovers that aren't heated or anything where it kind of can sit and grow, because any kind of food product has stuff that allows this parasite to grow, those are things to avoid. Even with the fresh vegetables, Fred, it's worth thinking about like just cooking vegetables rather than eating them raw or kind of freshly prepared. So anything that gets cooked up to about 140 degrees Fahrenheit will kill this parasite.
Common symptoms of cyclosporiasis include severe diarrhea, bloating, nausea, and fatigue. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A Chicago man out on pretrial release was arrested for trespassing at Illinois Governor Pritzker's home in Chicago. We get more from Nancy Hardy.
Chicago police say they arrested Dwayne Milton shortly after 10 o'clock the night of July 4th. He allegedly was in the backyard of the governor's home after he was seen on security camera jumping over a fence. The site CWB Chicago reports the 46-year-old has convictions for burglary, retail theft, and robbery on his record and admitted to officers he had an outstanding warrant for shoplifting at the time. Milton had been released on electronic monitoring but had violated the terms for 11 days, the site says, before he was caught outside the governor's home. Nancy Hardy, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
A new law aims to put highly trained armed guards in Missouri schools to protect students from active shooters. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe signed legislation at the end of last week creating the Missouri Rangers. State Senator David Gregory of Chesterfield sponsored the bill. He says because hiring full-time police officers is expensive and recruiting's at an all-time low, the state needs the community to step up.
Any dad who wants to volunteer his time, any young retired grandpa or grandma or anybody that is ready to step up and either volunteer their time or get paid for it, it's up to the school. We're going to try to get all hands on deck to protect our kids.
Gregory says Rangers must pass strict physical and tactical tests before they're allowed on campus. The program's completely optional for all school districts in the state.
Many people are actually not taking their earned vacation. A survey by Robert Half shows that more than 50% of professionals didn't use all of their time off last year. Robert Half's Leah Raphael has some tips to consider before you go on vacation.
Communicate early with their manager before you take your vacation on prioritizing projects, set expectations. Make sure everyone knows what can wait until you return. The other thing is just preparing for your time away. So wrap up any urgent work, delegate what you can, leave clear notes to colleagues so they're not scrambling while you're gone. And then, of course, trust your backup and disconnect.
If you don't take your vacation time, Raphael says it could lead to burnout. It's 7:56.
Bill, that's a big smile for an old politician.
I'm thinking about our plan. It's slick enough to make a lobbyist blush. First, we hoodwink voters with Amendment 5. Tell them it's a tax cut. Once they're hooked, we decide who pays the higher taxes.
So it's not a tax cut plan, and we don't get a say?
Right, just swaps who pays the tax, but it does remove 3 voter-passed taxpayer constitutional protections. That lets us levy new taxes on services, increase sales taxes, and even tax home sales. And voters will no longer get to vote on tax hikes.
Higher sales taxes on groceries, gas, service taxes on doctor visits, childcare, and even rent on apartments. Jeez. Taxes could exceed 20%.
Sure, they figure that up to 80% of taxpayers will pay more taxes. Many, hundreds more. Seniors, they'll get hit even harder. But our big donors will cut a fat hog.
The ones getting butchered by Amendment 5 are most taxpayers. I'm voting no on 5.
Paid for by Missourians for fair taxation.
You're in charge of ordering boxes. Small boxes, big boxes, really big boxes. You're in charge of tape, labels, mailers, bubble wrap, extra bubble wrap, just for fun. You're in charge of warehouse cleaning and safety supplies. Good thing there's Uline. Thousands of quality products for your business and warehouse needs, always in stock, ready to ship same day, and backed by Uline's legendary 24/7 customer service. Uline makes it easy because you already do enough. Uline, we warehouse, for you.
With the new MyLowe's Pro Rewards American Express card, earn 3 points per dollar spent on Lowe's qualifying purchases for the first 6 months after card account opening. Plus, save 5% every day on eligible purchases at Lowe's and earn points on eligible purchases everywhere else Amex is accepted. Card members get more at Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. 5% can't be combined with any other offer. Exclusions and restrictions apply. Points subject to loyalty terms at Lowe's.com/terms and credit reward terms at Synchrony.com/MLPRA-terms. Visit Lowe's.com/business credit.
Soldiers Memorial Military Museum looks at American military history through the lens of St. Louis. From the Revolutionary War to the present day, the gallery showcases stories of local service members and delve into the city's wartime history. Outside, the Court of Honors includes monuments to those who lost their lives in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. Open Wednesday through Sunday. Admission is free. Find information about special exhibits at mohistory.org/memorial. That's mohistory.org/memorial.
Let's check in right now with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, those brief delays, eastbound Highway 70 at 370 are gone. So that's the good news through St. Charles County. Eastbound on Highway 70, you're delay-free now between Lake St. Louis and the Blanchette Bridge. Similar story, eastbound 64, Lake St. Louis towards the Boone Bridge. You do have that slowdown westbound Highway 70 approaching David Hokel Parkway. You're down to one lane through 2 o'clock this afternoon for construction work. Headed northbound on Highway 270, the stretch between 55 and 44, not seeing any issues. A little bit of a hesitation slowdown now, a little more volume between Doherty Ferry and Manchester Road on northbound Highway 270, and a little bit of volume as well ramping onto eastbound 64 from southbound 170. Our next traffic update is at 8:10. Frank Ladd of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Monday, July 13th. I'm Debbie Monterey, and coming up in the next hour of Total Information AM with Megan Lynch, Missouri Task Force 1 called in to help with rescues after massive flooding in southeast Missouri Friday. After the news, Megan Lynch talks with one of their members about what they saw. Numbers suggest use of GLP-1s is reducing the U.S. obesity rate. More on that from ABC's Jim Ryan. Some automakers are taking AM radio out of vehicles. Obviously, we have a vested interest. We'll hear more about what's pending on Capitol Hill from the head of the Missouri Broadcasters Association.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. The U.S. and Iran again shooting missiles at each other. Iran hit a container ship in the Strait of Hormuz. The U.S. fired missiles at Iran. Iran fired missiles at Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, and Qatar. Oil prices have jumped. ABC's Selena Wang.
Iran says it opened fire after several ships used unapproved routes and ignored warnings from its Navy. And now declaring it's closing the strait until the end of American interventions in this region.
More Israeli air attacks on Gaza City. At least 6 Palestinians were killed, say Palestinian health officials. The Israeli military says it targeted terrorists. Extreme heat spreading across more of the nation. South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham died from a ruptured aorta from heart disease, says preliminary info from the medical examiner. In a statement on his absence from the Senate, Kentucky's Mitch McConnell says he had a fall and was in the hospital, now in rehab. He's 84. This is ABC News. Bills that would temporarily limit the construction of large data centers known as hyperscalers await New York Governor Kathy Hochul's signature.
Any data centers that are 20 megawatts and above, which are on a much, much larger scale than anything we've really seen before.
State Senator Kristen Gonzalez co-authored the bill.
We cannot afford to have a strained energy grid, and we cannot afford to pay higher energy bills if we did nothing.
Never in history has Congress been so old. The average age of the current Senate is 64. Half the members are over 65. The oldest, Chuck Grassley in Iowa, 92. Youngest, John Ossoff of Georgia, 39. Average age in the House has soared from under 50 in the early 1980s to 58. Ryan Blaney won the weather-delayed NASCAR Cup Series race at Atlanta early today. He fought off challenges from Bubba Wallace and Christopher Hill, who finished second on the final lap. Rain and lightning delayed the race by over 3 hours. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
At 8:02, we have sunny skies, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Monday, July 13th. I'm Megan Lynch. Charges being sought for 2 teenagers after 7 people were shot, 5 fatally in East St. Louis yesterday.
Investigators are piecing together multiple crime scenes in what Illinois State Police is calling a targeted mass shooting.
One of these was at 39th and Summit, 3 at the Gompers Public Housing Project, 1 here at Jones Park, which is right here behind us.
ISP Director Brendan Kelly says the suspects, 15 and 16-year-old boys, were taken into custody after patrol cars stopped the teens' getaway car in Frank Holton State Park. At least one of the teens is related to the victims, and investigators are now navigating the legal rules of dealing with underage suspects.
There are undoubtedly specific limitations and rules that the state of Illinois, and that's pretty common across the country, that you have and how law enforcement has to investigate and interact with a juvenile. There are certain circumstances in which the nature of the offenses that are involved, the laws related to adults and how adults are prosecuted, those could apply to a juvenile under certain circumstances.
Stuart McMillan, KMOX News.
Homicide detectives investigating a late Sunday shooting death in the College Hill neighborhood of North St. Louis. They say a man was gunned down in the 2000 block of Aubert around 10 last night. No word on suspects. Shortly after implementing a moratorium on new apartment complexes, St. Charles County leaders will vote on another ban.
This time, a temporary ban on new data centers is up for a vote. Steve Ellman, the St. Charles County executive, tells KMOX the county will use this time to better educate themselves on the impact of data centers and whether they're appropriate for St. Charles. He says he doesn't want to fully close the door on data centers if the right fit is found.
If there's any place in St. Charles County that might be acceptable, and if they are, then if somebody brings us something there, we'll have the information we need to make a decision.
Ellman says the moratorium is for 6 months and adds there are currently no data center proposals anywhere in St. Charles County. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Voting already underway in Missouri's August 4th primary election. Secretary of State Denny Hoskins tells Missouri Net voters should know there are several ballot options available when they head to the polls.
The primary election, they ask what party you're affiliated with, and you can either choose a party ballot or you could actually choose a non-party ballot and just vote on the constitutional amendments and other local election ballot issues that are on the ballot.
Statewide, Missouri voters will consider 4 constitutional amendments August 4th, covering state parks funding, the election of the Jackson County assessor, changes to the initiative petition process, and a plan to phase out the state income tax. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina has died at the age of 71. We have reaction from Missouri and Illinois residents who served with him.
Republican U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt says Graham was one of a kind and a champion for the people of South Carolina. Schmidt says some of his fondest memories of Graham were on a golf course. He says they'd agree on things and sometimes disagree on things, but always shared a lot of laughs. Senator Dick Durbin, the Illinois Democrat, just got back from a trip with Lindsey Graham to the NATO summit in Turkey. Durbin says Graham was a tireless supporter of European and Ukrainian security, which he pursued until his passing. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
Southeast Missouri hoping for several days to dry out. Here's ABC's Hannah Battah.
In Missouri, at least one person is dead and more than 350 people had to be rescued after 6 to 12 inches of rain triggered flash flooding. Black Hawk helicopters were brought in to rescue more than 200 children and staff from a summer camp.
One of the cabins, you couldn't even see because you could only see the tippy top of the roof.
You just feel so helpless as a parent.
The National Weather Service calling it a once-in-a-thousand-years event.
And make sure you stay with us after the news and traffic and weather. I'm going to speak with Ryan Benedict. He's with Missouri Task Force 1. They went down and helped with a number of rescues during that flooding, so we'll get the latest on that. Otherwise in the news, a relatively new position in the behavioral health world allows survivors of mental health or substance abuse disorders to mentor those who are currently struggling.
It's called a certified peer professional and is a rapidly growing position in Illinois. Nanette Larson is with the Illinois Department of Human Services. She says the partnership between a patient and a peer professional is more of a mentorship than a clinical one, as peer professionals are trained in how to share their experience with patients.
That person sharing from lived experience in a way that gives the other individual hope.
She says a new state-run program assisting aspiring professionals is leading to the growing number of them. There are now a little over 1,000 certified professionals in the state, compared to a little over 200 in 2022.
And so it's just really evident that this is filling a gap in ways that maybe we had not even foreseen as we were developing the program.
Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
There's a new place in Chesterfield that's inviting volunteers to cook meals for those who need them. Kitchen of Kindness is a new initiative of Chabad of Chesterfield. Hanala Rubenfeld, the co-director of the Chabad, says the gesture is intended to remind struggling community members they're not alone.
It's really more than just providing the actual physical food, but it's really trying to make sure that people feel remembered, cared for, and part of something.
It will meet once a month starting in August. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
Things in Washington, D.C. may seem unsettled at times by their lack of progress, but one department in the U.S. government is progressing. That is the IRS. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. The IRS is in full function to collect on unpaid taxes. If you've been putting off a tax problem, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and get it resolved. Don't think the government is too busy to focus on my issues. Too many of my clients thought the same. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Lance Story Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Remember, if you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call the Lance Story Law Firm. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Or call 314-260-6120 or visit LanceStoryLaw.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, this is Kevin Wheeler. If you're looking for a little kick in the pants when it comes to dropping a little weight, getting better shape, getting more into the gym, think about Burn Balance Complex, which you can pick up at Supplement Superstores. I've been using it since it came out. It's fantastic. You notice right away the difference. Look, we all have busy schedules. I do and you do. You know, we all have problems sometimes with controlling our eating patterns and staying on a plan. Well, Burn Balance Complex makes that so much easier. It's not magic, but it definitely helps make it easier. It is a complete metabolism system. It's not just a fat burner. So what you're talking about is a natural weight loss option. So if you're a person that doesn't want to go get a prescription, you're not into injections, this is a great choice for you. In addition to the metabolism boost, you get to lower stress and cortisol levels, get better sleep. It can help control appetite and cravings, all-day focused energy with no jitters, no crash at the end of the day. If you want the help, and look, we all need it, I know I do, go to Supplement Superstores, tell them your story, mention Kevin Wheeler, and they'll knock 30% off the Burn Balance Complex. You can find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Debbie Monterey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10, time to check the roads with Frank Ladd. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're seeing just some pockets of volume northbound on Highway 270 this morning, Doherty Ferry up through about Clayton Road and the Highway 64 interchange. A little extra volume as well eastbound on Highway 64 now from the Clayton-Warson overpass. Make your way towards 170 into downtown St. Louis. We've been delay-free all morning. Westbound on 5564 crossing the Poplar. Westbound on Highway 70 crossing the Musial Veterans Bridge. We do have that ongoing road construction project at 70 westbound at David Holko Parkway. That has you down to one lane now through that stretch. That's to about 2 o'clock this afternoon. And emergency crews are still on the scene, still seeing delays on Highway 47 out south of Warrenton at the Warrenton Golf Course due to an incident there. Our next traffic update at 8:20. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Bright sunshine today and very warm this afternoon, high 89. Tonight will be clear, low 70. Mostly sunny tomorrow. Rather hot and humid in the afternoon, high 93. More the same Wednesday. Sunshine and some clouds, hot and humid, high 92. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We have a sunny morning, 74 degrees in Florissant, 71 in St. Peters, and 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Recovery continues in southeast and south central Missouri after historic rainfall dumped a foot or more of rain and triggered what's being called 1-in-1,000-year flooding. The governor activated Missouri Task Force 1, the state's urban search and rescue team, to help with the crisis. With me now on the Quiver River Electric Gas Line, Ryan Benedict. He is with Missouri Task Force 1, the technical information specialist. Ryan, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having us.
Can you give us a picture of the magnitude of the flooding and how quickly this unfolded?
Yeah, absolutely. So, flooding is an extremely dangerous thing, and whenever we get, an extreme amount of water that falls, like what happened Thursday and Friday, on already saturated grounds, rivers, low-lying creeks, that's when your flash flooding happens. And it takes just 6 inches of moving water to move a car. So we're talking 16 feet above where the water lines normally would be, and so that's what got into the campgrounds and the residential areas. And so you can imagine that much force, that kind of destruction, what it would do.
How confusing is it for people, especially those that may have been visiting the region, for travel, when something like this happens and maybe regular routes are shut off?
Yeah, I mean, it would be extremely confusing if you're visiting an area and you're not sure where you're supposed to go, or you're not even sure that the water is going to rise like it does. Some people were caught off guard because the water rose overnight, and so it's very difficult. And the best thing to do is to try to escape to high ground. But these situations, they unfold very quickly when the rain starts pouring down like this, and it's an extremely dangerous situation.
Ryan, for members of Missouri Task Force 1, where were the members deployed and what were they working on?
Yeah, so our home base of operations is at the Boone County Fire Protection District headquarters in Columbia, Missouri, and so that's our sponsoring agency there. We got activation orders very early, and we've got rescue specialists, we've got firefighters, paramedics, doctors, people from all walks of life that are on Missouri Task Force 1 all over the state of Missouri. We have many members that were in the St. Louis area that work in the St. Louis area, and so we were able to quickly deploy a command unit and a rescue crew very early in the operation and had them down here by about 10 a.m. on Friday. We also deployed our DSAR team, which is Disaster Situational Assessment and Reconnaissance Team. We had them down here flying drone missions by about 10:30 in the morning. And so what that does is it gives real-time data back to the command post. That's live streamed back to the SEOC in Jeff City where they're, making real-time decisions. We can give them some real-time information with that.
How many rescues was Task Force 1 involved in?
We're still trying to get kind of our head wrapped around how much it was, and we're having lots of meetings today as we kind of conclude the operation. But I'll tell you, we had rescue specialists that paired up with the Army National Guard in their Black Hawk helicopters. They planted them in the campgrounds to start triaging and coordinating the response of the children and the counselors. And, I mean, there was upwards of over 200 just right there in that one operation. We really appreciate the support of the Army National Guard and their helicopters and their teams. They're just outstanding.
What about the risks to your personnel? What do they know when they go into a situation like this that they're going to be facing?
Yeah, I was just talking to a guy about it this morning. As firefighters, there's a couple of things that are at the top of the danger list for us. Roadway incidents is a big deal for us. Electricity is a big deal for us. But water is right there at the top of the list. It's extremely dangerous. It's very relentless. And they depend on their training. Our guys train extremely hard in these situations, operating the boats, conducting rescues, knowing how to self-rescue if they get themselves caught in the water, and also how to help the people that they're rescuing stay calm and not make a situation worse too. So they're doing everything that they can. They're trained as good as they can, but it is at the top of the danger list, and so they're going in there eyes wide open.
Ryan, how much worse could this have been?
Well, the more water, the worse it's going to be. And I think we're lucky that there weren't more fatalities that came out of this. I think that we're lucky that we didn't get any more rain. But we've seen across the country in situations where it does get much worse than this, and we're very fortunate that it didn't get worse.
That's kind of my next question. Are you concerned and are you preparing for the fact that with the current climate-driven weather pattern changes, we could experience even more of this in Missouri?
Well, I'll tell you that Missouri Task Force 1 is prepared. We like I said earlier, we train very hard. We've got a very large group of dedicated individuals. We're hesitant to try to forecast what might happen in the future, but we will absolutely be ready if we're called again.
I talked to several people who regularly camp in some of the areas that were impacted. When it comes to these popular camping areas along our rivers, what do you want the public to know about being prepared for events like this?
Yeah, I mean, just look at your water levels. If you're a fisherman, if you're a camper, and you're going to go float these creeks, just look at the local news whenever you're going into these areas if you're concerned about it. And if there is a concern for flooding, the National Weather Service is going to put out flood watches. They're going to put out flood warnings. Pay very close attention whenever you get flash flood warnings. When you get flash flood emergencies, they are absolutely no joke. If they say go to higher ground, it's time to put your stuff in and head out, because, like I said, water is relentless, and it will carry away homes.
Ryan, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you as well to your team for their service.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
That is Ryan Benedict, Technical Information Specialist with Missouri Task Force 1, joining us this morning here on Total Information AM. Still ahead this hour, Jim Ryan, ABC News national correspondent, is going to join me next. Numbers suggest that the use of GLP-1 weight loss drugs is actually reducing the U.S. obesity rate. Jim is going to give us details of a new study by Gallup. We're going to look at the death of Senator Lindsey Graham, what happened there and what medical experts are saying about that. That's coming up at the bottom of the hour. And then at 8:41, I'm going to talk with Chad Mahoney. He's president and CEO of the Missouri Broadcasters Association. There's a bill in Congress right now that could affect what we do here at KMOX. It has to do with the AM signal in vehicles. So Chad is going to give us the latest on what's happening with that legislation. And then make sure you stay with us at the bottom of the hour. Have any of you ever spoken to a journalist who's listening? Maybe you haven't. Julie's going to talk to us about what those numbers are and how many people actually have had experience with a journalist face-to-face. It's 8:19. Let's get a check of the roads now. Roger Brand taking some time away. Frank Ladd is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Megan. Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family wish America a very happy 250th. Still seeing delays in the network zone westbound on Highway 70 now approaching David Holka Parkway. You're down to one lane through 2 o'clock this afternoon, as well as delays out in Warrenton near the Warrenton Golf Course near Highway 47. So pay attention to those issues there. Other than that, it's really been a light morning out there on the highways. Into downtown St. Louis, we've been delay-free all morning long. Westbound Highway 70 crossing the Musial. Westbound Highway 5564 crossing the Poplar. Completely thinned out now northbound on Highway 270 between 55 and 44. You do have that little off-the-pace stretch, though, northbound on 270 north of Manchester Road and about the Clayton Road overpass. As America celebrates its 250th anniversary, Steve Butts and everyone at Crawford Butts Insurance extend their heartfelt wishes for a safe and joyous summer of celebration. For generations, Crawford Butts is proud to serve the community. Steve Butts and the entire Crawford Butts family wish America a very happy 250th. Our next traffic update at 8:30. Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Frank. And it looks like we do get a break from some rain for the next few days. It will be sunny today and warm with a high of 89 degrees. Clear skies tonight and overnight low around 70. For tomorrow, mostly sunny, but it will be hot and humid in the afternoon, a high of 93 degrees. On Wednesday, sunshine with just a few clouds, hot and humid again with a high of 92. And then on Thursday, a mix of clouds and sun. Hot and humid conditions continue, and we could see a thunderstorm in the afternoon, a high Thursday of 93. Right now, we have sunshine, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch.
If you have been in a car accident in the past and have settled your case, I may have some good news. Some unethical lawyers have people known as runners who come directly to your hospital room or home and solicit your case. It's a disbarable offense. Anyone that would hire these scumbags needs to have their heads examined. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Now for the good news. If this happened to you, we will sue these lowlifes and fight to get all your fees back. And then look and see if these bottom feeders also malpractice your case and sue them for that too. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Visit forthepeople.com for a free consultation or call Pound Law on your cell, pound 529. If someone does this to you, call the Bar Association and report them. Let's fight these bums. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Plus, with Oxy makes your laundry smell incredible and fights stubborn smells, like the ones your dog Biscuit brought into your freshly made bed last night. But you wash that all away with Gain. And now you're drifting asleep to the scent and sound of waves. Ah, no, that's the dog licking your ear.
Biscuit.
It just might be our greatest scent ever. Now with odor fighting power. New Game Plus with Oxy.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Honey, did you invite the minions over?
Well, you know how we talked about getting Wi-Fi from Xfinity?
Yeah.
I ordered it this morning, was online in minutes, then they showed up.
So they just came over to use the Wi-Fi? For what?
Better not to know.
Get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi from Xfinity. Plus, lock in your price for 5 years and see Minions and Monsters only in theaters. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi.
Chris Ranchi and Amy Markscourse connect you with the people, places, and conversations that bring our community together.
And now you get to hear about poo-poo in a box from a firefighter.
No, come on.
The hammerhead worm. And you get to hear about car fires.
And sinkholes.
I love our newsroom. I think they're doing a great job.
From neighborhood happenings to local heroes, from everyday challenges to unforgettable stories. Chris and Amy, weekdays from 9 to noon on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
New Alzheimer's risk. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 Seconds to Better Health. The popular joint supplement glucosamine may come with a surprising risk for your brain health. Here's the ABC News correspondent Alex Stone.
You might have heard of the popular arthritis supplement glucosamine. It's known to cushion joints and decrease inflammation. Now, a new study in the journal Nature Metabolism finds the supplement may increase the risk of developing dementia by 25%. And for patients already living with Alzheimer's, researchers found glucosamine was linked to a 25% higher risk of death. Additional dangers are that glucosamine is a dietary supplement not regulated by the FDA, meaning the quality and dosage can vary from brand to brand. Doctors say you don't necessarily need to stop your glucosamine right now, since more clinical trials are needed to be done to really understand if the supplement changes the structure of the brain, but make sure to talk to your doctor about any medication you take, even if they're over-the-counter supplements.
With 60 Seconds to Better Health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
With Total Information AM here on KMOX. Preliminary reports suggest South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, one of President Trump's closest allies, died after a tear in his aorta. Our Odyssey sister station, KNX, spoke with ER expert Dr. Michael Daigneault.
An aortic dissection is actually one of the deadliest emergencies that we see in the ER, and it's something that's on the mind of all ER physicians, especially when a patient comes in complaining of severe chest pain and chest pain that radiates to their back. It occurs when there's a tear in the inner lining of the aorta, which is the body's largest artery. That's the artery that comes off the left ventricle of the heart. And so what happens is when there's a tear in the lining, blood forces its way through this tear and it separates the layers of the aortic wall. And that's what we call a dissection. And so as the tear spreads, the aorta can actually rupture, and then you end up with catastrophic internal bleeding. Blood doesn't flow to the vital organs, and then you have symptoms of stroke, heart attack, and that quickly progresses to cardiac arrest, kidney failure, and possibly death. And so mortality is very high if it's not recognized and treated immediately.
It's now 8:27. The use of GLP-1s has reached a new high. Gallup says Americans' use of the injectables for weight loss has nearly quadrupled since 2024. Let's learn more. ABC News national correspondent Jim Ryan is with us now on the Quiver River Electric Guest Line. Good morning, Jim.
Hi, Megan. Yeah, this all comes from the Gallup National Health and Wellbeing Index. Yeah, they've been looking at GLP-1 use for the last several years, finding that 11% of people right now, 11% of Americans are using GLP-1s. Doesn't sound like a lot, but consider that they just came out of the scene, less than 4 years ago. It went from 3% of the population in 2024 up to 11% now. And 15% of us say that we have used them at some point in the past. This all comes at the same time that the same poll finds that obesity is continuing to tick down. Cause and effect? Researchers haven't said that yet, Megan.
What about the incidence of diabetes? Because that's often what these drugs were used for originally.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're finding that the rate of diabetes has leveled off. It's not dropping down, but it had been gradually climbing over the last several years. Now it's hit a plateau. Is this also related to GLP-1s? I think that the jury is still out officially, but there seems to be this causal relationship between obesity, diabetes, and these GLP-1 drugs.
Now, there's a lot of names for these drugs, Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound. Some of them are a little bit different. Is there any indication in this survey by Gallup which ones are the most popular or most effective?
Well, it really doesn't seem to be a competition between Wegovy or Ozempic or these other semaglutides, but it's a competition between those name brands and the non-name brands, the compounded formulas. The people who responded to the survey and say that they're using the GLP-1s, the ones who are using the compounded versions, the non-label versions, if you will, say that they're more effective than the ones that have the big names, the Wegovy, the Ozempics, which is an interesting finding. Why is that? It could be psychological. It's hard to say, really, but these figures do bear that out, that the compounded formulas are getting a better reception than the name brands, perhaps the cost as well.
Jim, I'm just curious, did the study touch at all on the side effects of the medication that we've heard so much about?
Well, it didn't, and I think the jury's still out on that as well. I mean, these things have been around for, 5 years or so. I think the first time I heard about GLP-1s was maybe 3 years ago, and so they're still fairly new on the scene. We do know that people above 65 and older, they find that the drugs just aren't as effective as they are for people younger. That may be one side effect, but negative side effects, well, we'll have to wait and see about that, Megan.
All right, Jim, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
That is ABC News national correspondent Jim Ryan joining us this morning here on KMOX. It's now 8:30, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
You know, sometimes I think, what are the best ways that I enjoy an ice-cold Budweiser? At a ball game, maybe out playing golf with friends. Maybe some of you go to the lake, you're out on the boat, you crack open an ice-cold Budweiser. What you're doing is you are continuing a tradition that goes back 150 years. That's when Budweiser was created right here in St. Louis. People enjoy that ice-cold, delicious lager all over the world. And it all started right here in 1876. Also going back to 1876 is Major League Baseball, and Budweiser is the official beer sponsor of Major League Baseball. Of course, 1776 is when America was founded, and we are celebrating our birthday, 250 years this summer, and Budweiser is celebrating as well with their patriotic cans as they celebrate America's birthday. For the last 150 years, the king of beers. Crack open a Bud. This Bud's for you.
Let's check the roads for you now with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Just a little hesitation, slowdown, ramping on from southbound 170 to eastbound 64. A little busy stretch there, eastbound on 64 as well, from McKnight to about Big Bend. Headed towards downtown, not seeing any delays, eastbound on 64. Similar story, eastbound on Highway 70, eastbound on Highway 44 now towards downtown St. Louis. The slowdown I'm seeing is westbound Highway 70 at David Hochul Parkway. You're down to one lane through 2 o'clock this afternoon due to road work. Our next traffic update at 8:40, Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Duke's Real Mayo.
Duke's Country Song. It's
It's a song about the best mayo. It has a yellow lid, and its full name is Duke's Mayonnaise. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it looks like we're going to have a sunny day today. It's going to be warm with a high of 89, clear tonight with a low of 70. Right now we have sunny skies, 73 degrees downtown at the Arch. The U.S. challenging Iran's control over the Strait of Hormuz, a key pathway for the oil trade. Let's get more.
The United States and Iran each are asserting that they control the Strait of Hormuz after a weekend of attacks stretching across the wider Middle East. The attacks that continued into Monday morning further threatened any diplomacy to end the war. The U.S. military's Central Command released footage of its strikes on Iran. It also said the strait was a vital pathway for global trade, claiming Iran doesn't control it. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has said the strait is Iranian territory, and they would not allow what they called a rogue child-killing army from the other side of the world to continue its illegal interference in it. Iran's military on Sunday released footage showing drones being launched in response to what it described as U.S. aggressions in the south of the country. Iran and the U.S. are nearly at the midway point of the 60-day period of an interim deal that was supposed to set up talks for a permanent end to the war. I'm Karen Shamas.
Still ahead on Total Information AM. Some automakers are taking AM radio out of vehicles. Obviously, we have a vested interest in AM radio here at KMOX. We'll learn more about legislation pending on Capitol Hill from the head of the Missouri Broadcasters Association.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
I'm David Ortiz. When I lost my mom, she was only 46. And I lost my dad to cancer. It was the worst pain I ever felt. It made me think, what will happen with the people I love when my time is up? That's why I have life insurance. Ethos makes it easy. It's all online, take about 10 minutes, and you can get up to $3 million in coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid testimonial. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to Supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At Supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to Supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's Supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Money Report now. It's sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Apple is suing OpenAI, accusing the artificial intelligence startup of stealing trade secrets. The iPhone maker is alleging that OpenAI encouraged Apple employees to share information, drawings, and other materials related to upcoming products, part of efforts by the AI giant to develop its own suite of devices. OpenAI says it has no interest in other companies' trade secrets. It's a busy week on the economic calendar with the June consumer price report set for release tomorrow. Plus, Fed Chair Kevin Warsh set to testify on Capitol Hill, which could set the tone for the Fed's next rate decision. And the hiring boom the World Cup was expected to bring to the U.S. looks like it may not end up happening after all. Ahead of the tournament, FIFA predicted events could create the equivalent of 185,000 full-time jobs. Instead, employment in the leisure and hospitality sector is down by 21,000 over the past 2 months. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's be honest, selling your house is nerve-wracking. You're very excited about the next step because you probably have a house you want to move to or a place you have to move to. But the selling of your home, there's a lot of stress there, and that's why you need the right agent. Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is that agent who can take a lot of the stress off your shoulders so that you can look forward to that next chapter that you're excited about, because Gloria sells homes faster and for more money than the average agent. She's helped thousands of families over her several decades in real estate. She sells more than 4 to 5 homes a year. That's the average agent. She sells homes just about every other day, and she'll sell yours too. In fact, she guarantees it in writing. Also, if you are looking to level up a real estate career, Gloria is growing her team. She's hiring motivated inside sales and listing agents. So if you want to join her team, or if you want her team to work for you in selling your home, the number to call is 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
For the last 33 years, you've discovered that at Banner Construction, we pride ourselves on quality craftsmanship. We believe the single most important decision homeowners must make when considering an exterior restoration project is, who do you hire? At Banner, we provide well-engineered, meaningful, long-term solutions to transform your home into the pride of the neighborhood. Let us help you fall in love with your home all over again. Call 314-569-1050 or visit bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
You work hard, follow the rules, and get absolutely slammed by taxes. Your paycheck taxed, your property taxed, everything you buy taxed. Missouri's tax system isn't broken, it's rigged against you. The lawyers and lobbyists working for big corporations and the super rich buried over 200 loopholes for themselves in our tax code. While they pay nothing on the services they use, working families are taxed over and over. It's no wonder they're lying about Amendment 5. Our corrupt tax system is rigged in their favor. They're getting a free ride on your back. Don't believe their lies. The truth is, Amendment 5 closes loopholes exploited by the super rich and slashes taxes paid by Missouri's working families, phasing out income taxes and cutting property taxes. They finally pay what they owe while you keep what you earn. Vote yes on Amendment 5, paid for by Missouri Promise PAC.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Some restaurants now changing their menus as a parasitic intestinal infection linked to produce spreads across the country. The CDC tracking cases across at least 31 states. The European Union has imposed sanctions on Russian military intelligence officers, hackers, and private companies. The EU accusing them of links to a years-long cyber espionage campaign aimed at undermining the bloc. An investment in data centers to power artificial intelligence has made memory chips, computer processors, and other equipment more expensive. Economists expect it will continue to push up inflation at least through the end of this year. Time to check the roads with Frank Ladd in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It has really been a light morning out there on the highways, Megan. Really essentially incident-free so far this morning. Headed northbound on 270, completely thinned out between 55, 44, and 64. We never had an issue headed into downtown St. Louis this morning. Westbound Highway 55, 64 crossing the Poplar, westbound Highway 70 crossing the Musial. You've got the ongoing road construction project out in Wentzville. It's westbound Highway 70 at David Hochul Parkway. You'll be down to just one lane through 2 o'clock this afternoon. They'll open up the second lane for rush hour, then close it back up at 7 o'clock tonight. That'll last till 2 o'clock until tomorrow afternoon. They'll open it back up. So for the next 3 days or so during the day, you're going to see those delays westbound on Highway 70 at David Hochul Parkway as you're down to one lane, and still seeing a pocket of volume on Highway 47, but it is easing out at the Warrenton Golf Course. There was an earlier accident there. I'm Frank Ladd with traffic from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Staples.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
A sunny day today, warm, a high of 89. Clear skies tonight with a low of 70. And then mostly sunny tomorrow, hot and humid in the afternoon, a high of 93. We have 74 degrees in Florissant, 71 in St. Peters, and sunshine 73 downtown at the Arch. Welcome back to Total Information AM here on KMOX. And for 100 years, you've heard KMOX radio at 1120 on the AM radio dial. Of course, we have an FM signal now, but that AM signal still stretches much further, and generations of listeners have tuned in to Cardinals broadcasts, breaking news, and life-saving weather information on that AM frequency. You can imagine we have a vested interest in keeping that signal strong and available to you. But we've noticed a number of automakers are taking AM radios out of their vehicles. Joining me now on the Quiver River Electric Gas Line is Chad Mahoney, President and CEO of the Missouri Broadcasters Association, to talk about an effort to ensure AM radio is still available in our cars, trucks, and SUVs. Good morning, Chad.
Good morning, Megan. Good to be with you.
So how many auto manufacturers have been moving away from AM radio?
Well, there's a handful of them that have moved away over the past 3 years or so, and there are several others who are prepared to do it that are kind of eyeing this legislation in D.C. to see what happens next. The legislation we're talking about is the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act that would prevent automakers from removing the AM radio from cars.
Where does it stand in the House and Senate right now?
Well, right now, I'm talking to you from Washington, D.C., because broadcasters from across the nation, including our team from the NBA, are here this week to talk about the act. And it's very popular. It's a bipartisan bill. We have 317 co-sponsors in the House and 61 in the Senate. But the thing is, we're running out of time to pass the bill during this Congress. If you look at the calendar, the days are few. So what the NBA team is doing here in D.C. this week, we're going to visit our co-sponsors of this legislation, and we're going to ask them to tell their leadership to take this bill to the floor for a vote. So the legislation should pass pretty easily, but we just need to get it taken to the floor for a vote, and that's what we're here to ask this week in D.C.
So, Chad, as a journalist, I've got to play devil's advocate here, even though, as a member of the KMOX team, we know AM radio is important. Would this increase the cost of a vehicle for listeners in any way if automakers were mandated to keep AM radio?
We don't believe so. The AM radios have been in there for years. It's been a part of buying a car for decades now. You do have some, to play devil's advocate, we do have some electric vehicles where the manufacturers say they have some interference with the vehicle and the AM radio. So what they're talking about is what's called EMI, electromagnetic interference. But there is filters and they have shielding that really is standard engineering that car companies already perform to protect electronics in the vehicle. So with that shielding, the EMI really doesn't become a problem. And I should point out that there are EVs on the road right now with AM radio with no problem. So, there's been a new push to remove these from the automakers because their push is to start selling subscriptions for the dashboard. So they want to monetize the dashboard, and you would actually pay to have audio in the dashboard instead of having free over-the-air radio. So that's where we believe the motive actually comes from. It's not necessarily the price of putting the AM radio in there, but the ability to monetize it once it's in there in the future.
I'm speaking with Chad Mahoney, President and CEO of the Missouri Broadcasters Association. Chad, from the perspective of a public service, why do you feel like AM radio is so essential?
Well, I think people, as you mentioned, you have the FM signal in St. Louis, which sounds great there locally. But people forget that 82 million people a month are listening to AM radio. So it's still essential for day-to-day information. It's especially essential during a public emergency. So KMOX and other AM radio stations are here every morning, as you are right now, delivering news, weather, traffic, all the updates people need. But then during an emergency, this station becomes a lifeline, and so do many others. Those cell towers go down, people lose power, but they can still listen to AM radio. So KMOX has that FM signal, but it's the AM signal that actually is the backbone of the nation's emergency alert system. So KMOX is part of the Primary Entry Point System, or PEP, P-E-P, which is a network of commercial radio stations that partner with FEMA to get emergency information to the public. So it could be a presidential alert, for example, and go directly to the public through these PEP stations, and KMOX in St. Louis is one of those PEP stations.
Chad, are you hearing from the public safety sector about this bill? Are they weighing in on it?
All across the nation, public safety officials are weighing in on this. This is not just a broadcasting issue. It is very much a public safety issue. So we hear from members of Congress, the FCC, several members of FEMA have spoken out, and even in Missouri, the Missouri Department of Public Safety Director Mark James has written a letter to congressional leadership saying it's essential to take this to the floor for a vote because it's essential for public safety in the state of Missouri and across the nation.
Chad, thanks so much for updating our listeners on this.
Thank you, Megan. Good to be with you.
That is Chad Mahoney, President and CEO of the Missouri Broadcasters Association, joining us this morning here on KMOX. Coming up, we're going to ask how many people have actually talked to a reporter. I'll be joined by our KMOX media expert, Julie Smith.
You're spending more time outdoors, so the mosquitoes are out now, and you're maybe thinking, what could we do? How about a sunroom or a screened-in porch? Those are just a couple of solutions, but Chesterfield Fence and Deck is there for you when you decide on the next outdoor project that you want to do. And if you mention me, Debbie Monterey, this month, they'll offer you 48 months interest-free financing. There's so many great reasons to use Chesterfield Fence and Deck because it is the sign you have the very best. What does that mean? Well, it means that they're going to offer you the best value because when you plunk down your money, it's going to be the best product and the best installation. These are installation teams with years of experience, so they know what they're doing. And this is a company that's been around for 58 years and has an incredible reputation. So the project is going to last for years to come. That is a true value. Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Visit them in the Chesterfield Valley or online now at chesterfieldfence.com.
Celebrate the month of July with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Get your air ducts cleaned for $599 per unit. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. About a quarter of Americans say they have ever spoken with or been interviewed by a local journalist or reporter. That is one of the latest surveys released by Pew Research Center, and of course it got my attention. KMOX media expert Julie Smith joins me now to talk about that study and why it matters. I'm intrigued by this.
I thought it was really interesting. So 1 in 4 Americans have talked to a journalist, right? And what they discovered is that it's typically people that have a college degree, and it's typically white adults more than any other demographic group. They also said that people who are more active in their community are more likely to have spoken to a local journalist. And so, the big question is always, so what? Why does this matter? Well, does that mean that the news is missing out? Like journalists are missing out on possible stories by not talking to other people? Or are readers and listeners getting a viewpoint of only one demographic? I think it's worth talking about.
I think it's very much worth talking about. And it made me stop and think about how I have contact with people and how over the years I've interviewed people. When I was a younger reporter, obviously I was the one out covering a lot of public meetings, for example, or community events. But again, those are the people that are highly engaged. They're either the public officials that you're interviewing or people going to public meetings for a specific purpose and to speak out about something. And so, yes, you would encounter people who were highly engaged and had the confidence to speak. Yeah. Otherwise, it's when you're talking to people, sometimes it's the worst day of their lives because you are out covering a disaster.
Right.
And so that is when you're catching maybe more of the average quote unquote person.
At their worst moment ever.
Mm-hmm.
What I think is really interesting is that, most people have an impression of the news media, right? Well, what this means essentially is that 3/4 of America has an impression of the news media without ever having interacted with it. And I think that's really interesting because what it I think, again, demonstrates the responsibility that news reporters have to try to talk to as many different people as possible.
And efforts to reach out to the community can be hard. They take a lot of effort on the part of news organizations, but there's been a lot of talk, I would say just in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, about how we go about doing that again.
Do you ever feel like it's difficult or that people hesitate to want to talk to you because you're a reporter?
Yeah. Oh, I've had that for years. You have people who are very eager to talk to you. They see you with the mic flag and they come right up and they want to tell you something.
Right.
But then you have other people that you think, oh, I bet this guy has a terrific story. And no, they do not want to be put on the spot that way. I would say, though, social media has become an interesting place to find people.
And stories, probably, right?
But again, you have to vet those. You have to vet those and make sure that it's someone legitimate.
Right. But that also means that you would have to have time to scroll and find these people and find these stories. And most people, because the staffing issues, don't have time to do that sort of thing.
No. And I have always encouraged people, break through that wall. Reach out to us. I would say we receive far fewer calls in the newsroom than we used to. We used to get a lot of calls. Phone used to ring all the time from listeners.
Do people email or post online instead?
People do email. We used to get more comments on social media. Now they're mostly bots.
Yeah.
Or trolls.
But again, it's the people who are really engaged that are going to bother to look up the phone number and pick up the phone and actually make that call. So again, you're getting a small percentage of people who are opinionated about a particular topic.
Yeah. So interesting. We'll see. And I guess what I would say is, this Pew study has not really changed over the years.
And I didn't think there was that much surprising about it, actually. So we'll see how things change over time.
All right. That is KMOX media expert Julie Smith. She joins me every Monday morning here on Total Information AM. And make sure you join us tomorrow for Total Information AM's 8 o'clock hour. You know the Benadryl challenge that you've been hearing a lot about on social media where kids take too much Benadryl and they try to fight its drowsy effects. Well, there have been some injuries and actually some deaths attributed to this challenge that is going through the teenage community on social media. I'm going to talk with a personal injury attorney, Lem Garcia, about what you can do if your child is harmed in one of these social media challenges. Can you go to the platform and try to take action? Can you go to the influencer that posted the video to try to take action? He's going to give us more details on that tomorrow morning at 8:11. Also, Leslie Gill, with Rung for Women, which is a group that trains women in job skills. They're saying that professional jobs are shifting, that employers are hiring fewer people. AI is beginning to create some change in the market, and they're trying to adapt there at Rung for Women with the latest cohort. I'll speak with her. She'll come meet me in studio so we can learn more about the trends that she's seeing and what they're trying to do that makes sure that people do keep those jobs in the workplace. Also, Michelle Wilson, registered dietitian with Brands Nutrition, is going to join us to talk about the sauerkraut diet. Is it all it's cracked up to be, and does it really work? Let's check the forecast before we get to Chris and Amy. Sunny and warm, a high of 89. Clear tonight with a low of 70. And then sunny, hot, and humid tomorrow with a high of 93. Right now, sunshine, 78 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by LensSeek.
Some screenings no longer make sense for older adults. A new study in JAMA suggests benefits of a colonoscopy might be limited if you're over 75, even if you've had polyps before. Federal guidelines recommend routine screenings up to age 75, but say decisions after that should be personalized because risks like bleeding or reaction to anesthesia increase with age. Talk to your doctor to see if continued screening is right for you. I'm Margie Schaefer.
If you own a small business, the pressure never lets up. Something's always coming at you. That's why business owners turn to LensSeek for funding.
I don't need promises. I need options. LensSeek's AI platform showed me real funding choices. Now I can cover payroll, handle taxes, and go after growth opportunities without the daily stress.
Up to $5 million with funding in as fast as 24 hours. No upfront costs. No prepayment penalties. Start ready, stay ready. LensSeek.com. LENDSEEK.com.
Tom Ackerman here. Here's the thing about estate planning, and I hear this a lot, is, I have an estate plan. We did that years ago, but we've been meaning to look at it again. And honestly, that is the problem. Estate plans should not be one and done. Most plans don't fail because people don't care. They fail because life changes and the plan doesn't keep up. At Lederman Law Firm, it isn't just paperwork. It is an ongoing process.